Play your cards right and we both might make it out of this bitch alive. Feel a feral beast creeping up underneath. No need to hide, no need to run. Just have some fun and let yourself be cleansed. Holy water flowing, rhythm growing. Your life might just end. Nosebleed, do you see what I see? You're weak and you thought that of me. I think you might need a remedy. You came unprepared mentally. Now stomp your heels in the dirt. Go down, move up and dip and work. You might think you just won the battle, but I won the war first. Into the void, it feels so devoid of emotion. Ride with the ocean waves, get a bit rowdy. Dressed to the nines, we claim this land. We're here to stay. I got $5 in my purse, but you might need this bitch in a hearse. Don't focus on what I say from the verse. Just move your body, let the beat do the work. We're focused when we attack. On to bat, make the skulls on crack. Push rolls around the track back. We won't strike away. Fight back, fight back. We fight the fight to one round. Taste some blood, yeah, here it comes. We get you no second sight. Follow step, no doubt. Fight back, fight back. Running in our veins. We don't have an ounce of shame. We don't have an ounce of shame. Pretend don't be we reclaim. Let's make a wicked race rain. Fuck it up like this, like that. Do exactly as I do. Pick it up now, send it back. I just might be done with you. Fuck it up like this, like that. Do exactly as I do. Pick it up now, send it back. We win, bitch. You fucking lose. Into the void, it feels so devoid of emotion. Ride with the ocean waves. Get a bit rowdy, dressed to the nines. We claim this land. We're here to stay. I got $5 in my purse, but you might need this bitch in a hearse. Don't focus on what I say from the verse. Just move your body, let the beat do the work. Get fucked up from the attack. On to bat, make the skulls on crack. Push rolls around the track back. We don't strike away. Fight back. We fight the fight to one round. Taste some blood, yeah, here it comes. We got you no fucking sight. You will stop, no doubt. Fight back, fight back.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Blue Otter League. We are here with week 2 of the IBS regular season, I believe, and we got TD Syndicate facing off against TE Aeon. And you know, those acronyms are not so close together that I won't get them confused during the game, I'm sure. But I'm Yarko on play-by-play, joined by Bickle on color. Thank you for having me on, and what you thinking about this matchup?
Absolutely, and this is really a matchup I'm excited to see. TD Syndicate and Tenebrous Esports Aeon, two of the top teams coming into the league this year. Both took an easy 2-0 in week 1, coming in undefeated, really fighting for the top of Piltover right now. We are already jumping into game number 1, though, as we see bans being targeted, thrown each way. Anivia, Nocturne, and Tarek now hitting the ban phase.
These all make a lot of sense. These are not champions that low elo players oftentimes know how to deal with. People just run into Tarek Ultimate and won't be able to get in under the Cosmic Radiance. That's a big problem. And Nivea has incredible zone control and Nocturne, turning the lights off, making the whole map black, and making it even harder for these teams to get vision. We're going to now see a few more bans come out that also, I think, speak to me that these guys have done their scouting. The Mordecais are taken away by TD as Tenebrous Esports will ban out Varus Diana, and that means Caitlyn is open for the B1 as it is picked up by Syndicate.
Yeah, we're flying through drafts so far. Caitlyn grabbing that B1, good, strong, oppressive in lane. Going to be heading down to Vampiric Narwhal, where Tenebrous Esports responds instantly with the Amumu Seraphine. Two extremely strong team fighting ultimates, good for their picks, that we really see a lot of down in IBS. Both, of course, flexible. Seraphine tri-flex between mid 80 carry and support. Amumu, that duo flex between jungle and support as well. But we are going to see the Lux paired up with the Caitlyn. Of course, light binding into a trap, and you're dead.
And that's the bot lane solidified for TD. TE, on the other hand, playing their cards a little bit closer to their chest. Amumu Seraphine could, in fact, just be the response to Caitlyn Lux, or it could be the case that we got a Seraphine support with an Amumu jungle. Whole lot of potential for them to flip-flop these champions around. Let's see what TD is going to do now to round out their first few selections of the draft. The Cane Hover is going to be quite the dominant statement for Verinda. I mean, this is not a champion you see a lot of in coordinated play.
Not something you see that much of, but it's something Verinda feels confident with, and Aeon instantly responds with the Dr. Mundo, likely heading topside, and they're already going to be banning a way to protect it, taking away the Darius lane bully that could give Mundo a bit of a problem. But it feels like both teams came into game one with a plan and expectations of what they wanted to do.
TE already with a very dominant front line in the form of the Amumu and Dr. Mundo. We'll have to see exactly how they're going to want to make macro decisions with these two champions on the map. If they want to send Mundo into a side lane, if they want to actually get a Mumu farm by putting them in the jungle role, or if they're just going to be a straight up initiator as a support. There's still a lot of options open for Red Squad side. And I like this response. Caitlyn Lux, I've always said, Bickle, is a gamble of a lane. You need to get income over to the Lux because if Helium Bamboo doesn't pick up kills or assists, you're going to have to build Enchanter, and Enchanter Lux is just far worse than what you could be doing on any other champion. I mean, you got a Seraphine on the enemy team who really doesn't need that same level of income. In the second phase of bans, we're seeing some of these more dominant champions banned out alongside the Veigar, which is less lane dominant, but still very much a scaling threat. And hey, if it's IBS and teams struggle to end games early, that's a good champion to get out of the pool.
Veigar has been one of Lemon Sap's most successful champions. It's one of the key picks that brought TD Syndicate to the IBS title last year. So it makes sense that they're taking that away. And TD Syndicate really sticking with the strategy of saving their solo lane, Zax and Lemon Sap, for the second phase, saving them to see what the team needs as much as possible. But Tenebrous Esports going to be picking up the Sivir for Jigbean. So that's likely going to be the Seraphine, either heading mid or support, but we still have a lot to be left to see in that last pick. But now Syndicate's got to show their cards and send out their solo.
The Sivir's a good pick here if you do, in fact, want to have a traditional ADC in Jigbean's hands up against the Lux and the Caitlyn. Obviously, having the Spell Shield is going to be really valuable, but TD Syndicate is answering back to what I like to call the Cho'Gath test, which is just simply, Bickle, do you pick the Cho'Gath at this point in time in the meta, or in my opinion, it is absurdly strong, and hey, pass him with flying colors. I'm surprised this has gone through the pick ban phase.
Yeah, Cho'Gath, ever since, he's just been buff after buff after buff, and people still aren't looking at him. Instead, though, Zax is going to bring out that top laner into the Dr. Mundo response, whereas Victor going to be the final lock-in here for Lemon Sap.
Yeah, the Victor is a nice pick, I think, to finally
That's
calm
an
down
Akshan.
what is otherwise a very aggressive draft on TD's side. Now, on the other hand, it took until the last few picks for Tenebrous Esports to really start throwing a wrench into their plans. The Akshan coming through is a very interesting decision, probably going to be going into the mid lane with Dr. Mundo top side of the map. And perhaps this is going to be the angle to try to get around gravity fields and just bully the Victor early, but this is another champion that, very much like Caitlyn Lux, as I was talking before, Bickle, is a gamble. You need to be able to get this champion fed, or he is going to be doing literally nothing, especially because you have a very dedicated front line with the Cho'Gath and what is most likely going to be Verinda on Red Kayn.
That is a really strong front line there with the Cho'Gath and the Kayn in particular, if he does go for that Rost. You got to think for the Akshan, Junk Sleep's really going to be looking at these roams, in particular down to that Caitlyn Lux, to try and set them behind. You know Cait Lux want to be pushing in, want to be taking tower plates. So you got to think Amumu and Akshan are looking bot there to try and punish if they overstep.
Yeah, and there's still a few angles that Aeon can go on their side, especially given the fact that this is an IBS league. Bickle, I would like to see some experimentation. I've seen Akshan support actually at this elo work exceptionally well as a roamer, and then you could put Seraphine into the mid lane, just kind of handshake that one away with the Victor to scale up, and then you have tons of ganking potential off of this champion, getting heroic swings, entering on into the mid versus this immobile champion. But as you're saying, it's most likely just going to be Akshan mid with a Mundo top, and that does kind of give me pause for thought about the tension point bot side of the map. As I said before, TD Syndicate need to try to snowball the Caitlyn Lux, especially versus Sivir Seraphine, which is exceptionally good at scaling and very good as well at playing defensively, pushing out waves, just kind of bombing these minions as they come towards them. So with that in mind, a lot is on Verinda's plate early on.
Verinda definitely has the onus on themselves. Going to need to be getting form as fast as possible if they do want to head in the direction of Rost, of getting Red Kayn. Your only really option is to gank into that Mundo to get those red orbs. Otherwise, you're going to be delaying yourself even more by picking up so much Shadow Assassin out of the triple melee out of the triple ranged bot side that is Seraphine, Akshan, and Sif.
Yeah, but the point at which Verinda is ganking Dr. Mundo, it's probably a free dub for TE Aeon, right? Like, there's just no real way for you to exhibit kill pressure. Sure, you have a little bit of CC from Cho'Gath, right? They're going to be able to pop Mundo's capsule, and from there, maybe you get a knock up, but I mean, this champion is meant to take that kind of punishment and abuse early. And because that is the case, I think that Dr. Mundo probably will be perfectly happy every time that they see Kane coming to their lane, because that means now Silver Seraphine able to kind of crest over that early game without a whole lot of influence from the jungle on TD's side coming down there. And they're going to massively outscale the Caitlyn Lux.
They absolutely will. Sivir is just going to become such a menace for this team to deal with as the ricochets build up and do even more damage, be it the IE build or the Navori build that we sometimes see with the Sivir, going to just be tearing through this team. Cho'Gath, the major frontliner for the team, but you gotta look at what Syndicate's doing. Mundo, like you mentioned, if we see Verinda topside, Tenebrous Esports is just laughing. It's like, yes, gank our Mundo, please.
Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, Bickle, here as we are now beginning to move towards the spectator delay, I think that TE Aeon have kind of walked away with a free draft here versus TD Syndicate, who, yes, are picking ostensibly more meta champions, right? The Cho'Gath, the Victor, Caitlyn Lux as a duo. But when you look at how responsive Tenebrous Esports has been to the champions and the pain points that they see on Blue Squad's side, I think that they have a very, very good chance of taking the first dub here in this best of 3 series. Obviously, they have some unknown quantities on their team because there is a little bit more variation in the draft. The Akshan in particular is something to watch out for, but it could be the case that this champion just lives the dream, right? A lot of the time you're seeing stuff like Talia picked into Victor because you just want to wave clear and roam. And hey, Akshan is built as a roaming champion at the end of the day. We'll see if Silver Seraphine are just kind of hold the wave near their tower. Caitlyn Lux are going to overextend, or maybe Kane is going to put way too many resources somewhere, and boom, from there, Akshan can make plays. So overall, I'm going to vote for them for this game number 1. Do you have any closing thoughts, though, before we throw it to a quick break?
I think I'm right there with you. I like what Aeon has brought to the table. I think they have a really strong team fight in the Amumu Seraphine combo, which will work out really well for them. Dr. Mundo is a frontliner that it really feels like Syndicate's going to struggle to deal with. Yes, the big question mark is going to be Junk Sleep on that Akshan, but I have a feeling he's going to be able to get these roams off, especially down the bot side, and find a way to punish the Syndicate bot duo.
All right, well, you heard it here. 2 votes for TE Aeon, but TD Syndicate has also made a name for themselves from that first week, Bickle. They clearly have what it takes to take it to this team, and we're going to see one of these sides suffer their very first defeat in the IBS BOL League for the season. Cannot wait for that to happen. We're going to take it to the Rift here very shortly, but first, a quick break. Thank you guys for watching.
and forth. Move my body back and forth. Move my body back and forth. Move my body back and forth. Move my body. Back to the old school. Back and forth.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Blue Otter League IBS Division Week 2. TD Syndicate and TE Aeon both undefeated, looking to make their mark here in game number 1 as they face off on the Rift. And we got some classic trading, some classic Mundo dodgeball as Glizzy Gobbler trying to chunk out Zach's gaming just a little bit. I think things are going to be pretty calm on the Rift, though, until we see these waves start to crash.
Yeah, you say pretty calm, but take a look at what's going on down here for TD Syndicate. Helium Bamboo and Vampiric Narwhal setting up an early bush play here on the Caitlyn Lux, looking to get aggressive early as they are sitting in that bush nearest to the red tower, looking to try and chunk out some health, maybe get a summoner or a kill if they're lucky.
Very disrespectful choice from Jigbean and Karma Legend, not going cleanse there on the Sivir. They went for flash heal. I think that might be a death sentence given the setup from Vampiric Narwhal and Helium Bamboo, and really good call by them. We're going to just see the Raptor start from Kane, and given the fact that Verenda is on this champion, this is always something they have to watch out for on Red Squad's side, but they are just going to move up, trying to catch this wave. They don't know this is happening, Bickle.
No, they got no Luke. Jigbean's there on his own.
All right, yeah, and Karma Legend just a little bit too late to the show already. The Sivir going to be chunked out to less than half health.
Jigbean?
Helium Bamboo, if they could get another E off, there's the flash forward. Vampiric Narwhal don't even need the Lux. That's first blood for TD Syndicate. And Chester Cheetah, BTFO. It is easy being cheesy.
Just disrespect from Jigbean. Steps up, decides to just tag the autos, and Vampiric Narwhal makes him pay for it.
And it's just a fully unmitigated disaster now for Red Squad. Jigbean, for some reason, also decided to flash heal off that play, which is really the worst of both worlds, you know. Vampiric Narwhal, Helium Bamboo, only trading back one flash in the entirety of that. And while Karma Legend does get a little bit of XP, I don't know if the Seraphine is going to be able to help deal with what is now, going to be a very, very fed Caitlyn.
An extremely fed Caitlyn, and that did cause, of course, flash for flash, but that cleanse is still there for Narwhal, so in case Amumu ever comes down for that gank, Narwhal's got the safety button to get out of it. Whereas Jigbean, he's got a spell shield when he hits level 3, and that's it. But
Yep.
Glizzy's getting chunked up here.
Yeah, across the board, Aeon is getting pushed in and just kind of suffering in these lanes. Junk Sleep, really the only one who's just kind of able to hold their own. And that's because they're up against Lemon Sap on Victor, right? Not exactly the strongest champion in this early laning phase. What I'm kind of worried about is the fact that with Glizzy Gobbler taking so much poke early, we are definitely in a situation where the Mundo actually can be dove, can be ganked by Verinda, which is something that we were really doubting was going to happen for Aeon, as now Rennick is being rushed out of that topside river, Verinda giving chase. And, you know, while
Important to note, though, he got the Scuttle Crap. That's cleanse, though, for bot side.
Yeah. Here's the thing bot side as well, though, right? Even though Jigbean has a spell shield available, Karma Legend doesn't have anything of the sort, right? And so they're still going to be suffering in this lane, right? We already saw them combo to about half of their health by Vampiric Narwhal and Helium Bamboo. And, you know, Jigbean is not going to have that spell shield up very frequently either. It's going to be constantly popped by Helium Bamboo, throwing out those Qs, etc., etc. I mean, this is already shaping up to be a rough one for Aeon. We'll see if they're going to be able to rally here, maybe get some poke back and from there. Rennick can make a statement and make it play bot.
Yeah, and Rennick, as you mentioned, already hovering down bot side, realizes his bot lane could be in danger. But for into ganking here, I don't know if you're going to get much out of this. Except maybe some stacks for the Ross.
Nice try to get the knockup by layering the Cho'Gath Q with the Kayn W. Just unfortunate that one of them doesn't land, and therefore Glizzy Gobbler is just going to have her passive pop. Not much else. Not even a flash burn. So TD Syndicate do expend quite a few resources showing Verinda top side of the map. Maybe that'll give a bit of space for Jigbean and Karma Legend to shape up bot side, push this wave out, and actually get a little bit of priority. Aeon now really are just kind of have to look for picks before we really see a pivot to a higher tempo game plan from their side. Maybe if we do in fact get a kill from them, they can pivot over to Dragon, and boom, all of a sudden they're back about even, if not slightly up on gold. But yeah, right now it's TD Syndicate's game.
It really is. That early kill for Narwhal gave him such a tempo advantage. Yes, Jigbean's doing a good job catching up and farm. This wave is going to crash. Keep it relatively neutral in terms of that. But Caitlyn with a kill is definitely what you like to see. And we see both junglers right now in that bot side looking to make things happening. Verinda is caught on wards.
Yeah, good job there from Jigbean and Karma Legend, just hitting their skill shots, making sure that Verinda can't actually force themselves over that Tribush wall. And because of the case that they've sussed out where the Kayn is, Aeon is actually able to rotate up towards this dragon. I don't know if they could full take it. That's definitely going to be a dangerous call, but Rennick is actually setting up, looking for an angle, misses the first bandage shots, has a second charge, finally going to hit that one. Cleanse is not up, and therefore that is going to be Karma Legend picking up one on the board for Aeon.
Narwhal just a bit too greedy there with the pathing, splits from his Lux, doesn't have vision in that bush, and gets punished by Rennick. And because of that, that's a free dragon now heading over to the side of Tenebrous Esports.
And now when you look bot side of the map, you can kind of recontextualize the CS lead that Jigbean has, right? That is pretty substantial at this point in the game. I'm not really sure if Vampiric Narwhal is just getting zoned off of waves or something, but the Caitlyn should ostensibly have the ability to farm pretty easily versus the Sivir, even if the Sivir is able to catch and push waves out. That doesn't really matter because your auto attack range is so darn strong. So TD Syndicate really need to try to pick it up on that front if they want to remain competitive, especially now that we do have a kill's worth of gold back over to Aeon's bot side.
Yeah, the kill gold is really what was keeping Narwhal and Helium ahead of the tempo at the moment. But with that swapping around and the big CS lead for Jigbean, that will heavily swing that now going back to Tenebrous Esports. We see a Noon Quiver picked up fully on back. Yes, Narwhal is sitting on the double longsword plus pickaxe, due to the fact that they went for the longsword pot start instead of the Dorans. So in terms of AD, we do see that Narwhal is ahead, but that extra attack speed is going to be helping Jigbean out a lot, especially with the fact that they have a full-on enchanter in the Seraphine, as opposed to Helium Bamboo, who's going to be trying to apply a lot of damage.
And we already see that Helium Bamboo is kind of struggling, going for a smorgasbord build, really only able to get the Sapphire Crystal. And that's not a lot of damage you're punching through versus Karma Legend and Jigbean right now. It's going to take a few more backs and hopefully some interference from Verinda before I really think that this Lux could start making their name. That being said, once again, if they do hit their cues, if they are really, really good with their skill shots, they can heavily pressure this team. And that really seems to be the burden right now. They need to make up for the fact that Vampiric Narwhal is missing CS by just making sure Karma Legend and Jigbean can never walk up to the wave and just make it a little bit easier for Caitlyn as a whole.
Yeah, of course, we are still waiting on Verinda and Lemon to scale a bit. Verinda getting that Ross form will be big, whereas Lemon, the more augments he gets out of his Hex Core, going to be more beneficial to him, get stronger wave clear. The top side,
Yeah, Glizzy Gobbler just going to activate their ultimate, try to run down Zax Gaming. Flash still available for the Cho'Gath. They're taking to about 100 health, but Verinda wrap around the far side corner here, trying to limit the interference that Red God can run. They jump in, activate their ultimate onto Glizzy Gobbler, but there's just no damage there. The Kane just has to flash away to safety.
just absolute chaos top side. Yes, Verinda was able to use that Kane ultimate to dodge out bot side Narwhal.
Good cleanse there by Narwhal, saving their life. Helium Bamboo able to stop the approach from Jigbean and actually get the flash out of Sivir off that bait. So TD Syndicate are able to hold strong down here, but TE Aeon
Junk Sleep's roaming top.
Oh my gosh, it's just a mess. Like, here comes Junk Sleep at this point, but the play's already a little bit dead. Zax Gaming is trying to back under the tower, does get that interrupted, but now the real only target is Verinda, and Cho'Gath can kind of poke from behind, but that being said, Rennick has had a really good approach and attack angle, so therefore Verinda will in fact be taken down before TD Syndicate can rally back.
Yeah, in the end, Verinda does fall there. Great roam from Junk Sleep, gets there ahead of the pace of Lemon Sap, who isn't able to get that response, so the Lemon's just going to try and poke away, especially with Zax in the area.
And Rennick has been overstaying massively. Zax Gaming gonna take the risk by running in there, and that feeds a kill over to Lemon Sap, who's one of the big carries on TD Syndicate's side. Yeah, you know, I'm sorry, Bickle. I feel a little bit off of the play-by-play tonight, but I just cannot predict these plays happening, man.
That was just disrespectful by Rennick. Knew that Lemon Sap was in the area, decided to over-aggress, try and steal away the buff, and gets punished for it.
Yeah, just really weird play. Rennick got all that they needed. They were gold positive on that play by killing Verinda, but I don't know why they wanted to try to push it deeper, especially given the counter jungling changes. Stealing blue buff is not that big of a deal, right? It's a Kane at the end of the day. This isn't something like Taric Jungle where it's super necessary and you're able to cut down on their clear speed massively by taking it. It's just kind of a mess, and TE Aeon, because of that, are just trading gold back, and with that in mind, they are now down about 500 versus TD Syndicate.
They are, and yes, Aeon will be in a good spot later as Jigbean continues to scale on the Sivir, but the scaling on Syndicate's not too shabby either. Lemon Sap's going to become a real menace, and yes, Narwhal wants to be lane dominant, but Caitlyn can still put out a bit of damage into anybody not named Glizzy Gobbler.
And I'm not going to lie, I know that we've only gotten 11 minutes into this game, but I'm going to call it right here, Bickle. I don't think this Akshan is the right pick. Sure, they did a little bit of roaming here and there, right? But it's not something that any other champion can't do. A Talia comes to mind. That's, as I said before, the classic response to something like a Victor if you want to roam. And we already saw Junk Sleep is kind of struggling to just put out the damage, missing a few boomerangs here and there, not really able to clear the wave to the extent to which I wanted out of this champion. And hopefully they'll be able to make an impact during a team fight. But even on that front, you could pick basically anything else, because now your window for unique control of the game that comes from playing Akshan has kind of already evaporated.
It really has, and something to note, we've been looking a lot at bot lane to see how the laning is going. In both solo lanes, there's a 20 CS lead for each laner on the side of TD Syndicate.
Oh, this is not good. Junk Sleep just caught out by the Lux Q. Laser Beam gonna follow up alongside the Chaos Storm, and TE Aeon hover around that dragon, feeding gold over to TD Syndicate.
Helium Bamboo lands the light binding of his life there. Double snare. It sets up his team phenomenally. Lemon Sap comes in, says, "Thank you very much. I will take my kills and my Hexcore fragments and get some abilities," as Verinda is more than happy to take this jungle.
And honestly, TE Aeon have to thank their lucky stars that wasn't also Junk Sleep going down. I mean, really, that play could have just been the game ender. The fact that only Jigbean and Karma Legend went down has to be a massive stroke of luck for TE Aeon at this point in time. They make the wrong macro call. They are punished mightily for it, but this game isn't necessarily over yet. It's just very much now on TD Syndicate's side.
Yeah, Syndicate's very much has the tempo now. A big charm came out of Karma Legend, which is the only reason there wasn't even more follow-up in that play. If that encore wasn't there, all 4 of them are dead.
And I don't mean to gripe even more about TE Aeon and some of their champion picks, but the fact that we aren't seeing Rennick on something besides the Amumu and Karma Legend on the Amumu is kind of a pause for concern on my half. I think that Verinda is just going to outfarm and outscale the Amumu. We already see that the CC is valuable, but it's not necessarily boosted by any gold income that the Amumu gets from farming their camps, right? They just have a very slow clear speed now. I wish we saw something like a Jarvan coming out of them, because think about how much better that terrain would have been in that last fight. A Cataclysm coming down really could have stopped the approach of some of these champions on TD Syndicate's side and made it just a little bit easier for TE Aeon to actually play a potent game prior to neutral objectives.
It would, and meanwhile, topside, we have more action happening. We see the Herald dropped, but is Glizzy Gobbler really the person you want to be putting this money into?
I mean, I guess that they don't want anybody to come back on their side. They just want to try to steamroll the one lane that has been relatively stable for Aeon's side. So maybe if they just get to the Mundo to the point where they're able to walk at anyone they so desire, TD Syndicate's going to crumble in their fight-making decisions. But right now, yeah, I agree. This is kind of an odd call by Aeon. It isn't even like they got a pick or anything. That was just a pretty baseline Shelly throwdown. And I guess they were forced to do so because we're so close to the 14-minute mark, but it still is an awkward situation. Aeon not getting enough back as I would have hoped to see here at the 15-minute mark.
And we see Zax has picked up that Jack show, and it's been really hard for Glizzy to deal with. Up 50 CS 15 minutes into the game. That is insane. The fact that Zax has been able to take a lane advantage that much, when you consider the only real jungle intervention was against him with the fact that Verinda died topside.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. I will say, Rennick is doing a good job, even after I kind of attacked the Amumu for their ability to speed farm. They're doing a good job trying to answer back a little bit of the gold deficit we're seeing top, but Glizzy Gobbler is just kind of zoned out of the game right now. Sure, they have a bit more income because of the Rift Herald that we talked about at length before, Bickle, but I mean, that's not enough to even get them back to even with Zax Gaming right now. And given that we're at this IBS level, I really have to wonder, is this just a deficit in Glizzy Gobbler's game? Like, they can't CS or last hit super well? Or is this something in the matchup that I'm just missing?
I don't think the matchup is that bad. I think this just might be Zax finding a way to take advantage.
I mean, that's a very nice way to put it, you know. It is on Zax to have a very good showing in this lane, but Glizzy Gobbler is just not doing enough on the Mundo right now for me to really have confidence that TE Aeon actually made the right decision to try to shore up top side. And now they're getting their back interrupted. It looks like they're going to go for the dive. Flash already burned by the Mundo. He activates his healing juice, but Verinda is able to get in there and alongside the Cho'Gath deliver a killing blow, and that's first Herald also down.
Yeah, right now, Zax Gaming just in a very solid position, up 2k gold on Glizzy right now. It's just domination in this top lane.
Oh, man. And TE Aeon, they're doing a good job bot side of the map, trying to needle at Vampiric Narwhal anytime that Helium Bamboo leaves the lane, right? That's the second time now that Karma Legend has landed a really good encore, and they got sums out of the Caitlyn, but this is kind of the problem of having Seraphine Sivir. Sure, you may be piloting these champions well, but there's a kind of limit on how well you can do early game, just because you lack a lot of kill pressure, as we just saw right there. Caitlyn, yeah, they are down Flash Cleanse, but also, Karma Legend is down Encore because it's going to be a little while longer before they can really threaten to take this champion back down again. And that is just not enough to answer to what TE Aeon is losing elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, and right now, TD Syndicate just in solid positioning. Next Dragon is coming up in 17 seconds. We see Rennick try and go for something, but Zax is here to respond. Forces the flash.
So rough. Not landing the bandage toss. I almost said bamboo toss because of Helium Bamboo, but not being able to land the bandage toss and then immediately having to flash out of Zax Gaming's queue is just such a feels bad moment, because if you landed that ability, you wouldn't have had to flash. And because that is the case, once again, Bickle, we're seeing massive priority to TD Syndicate in the spot side river. Rennick trying to walk up, does finally fire off a Fireman Curse of the Sad Mummy, but there's no encore available, and so TD Syndicate can recover from this one and turn the fight around with the wallet diff. That's a disaster once more. Aeon is firmly pushed out of this game.
What else can Renick do? He sets his team up with a 5-man Curse of the Sad Mummy, and there's just no follow-up there. There's nothing.
I mean, it's like a global taunt. Burn both Summoner spells on Vampiric Narwhal, and boom, now the Seraphine has no way into a fight, right? Think about the chain CC that had come through there. You tagged it during the draft phase, Bickle. If Karma Legend can follow up on Rennick or vice versa, all of a sudden, Aeon could tear through TD Syndicate. But the fact that the Encore wasn't up meant that that was a losing fight, even with the Dream engage from the Amumu.
There was just nothing there to follow it up, as you're saying. And Karma Legend has to be kicking themselves for blowing that Encore earlier, as if they had it there for that dragon fight. That absolutely goes their way.
Yeah, the dragon being picked up by Syndicate really is kind of a nightmare scenario because they have priority on the stacking. Sure, that was an even kill play, but Aeon isn't really getting gold over to the people that they need to either, right? That was one kill, I think, picked up by Karma Legend and one kill picked up by Jigbean, which I guess is kind of better, but still, awkward situation all around. Aeon is going full Enchanter on Karma Legend Seraphine as well, so that's not really going to be a huge boon for their side. And because that is the case, overall, I still think that TD Syndicate are pretty far ahead on multiple accounts, right? The Dragons are in their favor. Just in general, they're able to push out this map quite a bit more. And when you look at the gold difference as well, this is enough for them to, I think, chain win fights if TE Aeon overstep in certain situations.
And we see both Junk Sleep and Jigbean opting into those Kraken Slayers because they realize their only AP threat is Karma Legend, who's going complete Enchanter, and Rennick with a Demonic Embrace, who's building tank.
Yep.
You need those Kraken Slayers to tear through Zax, who's just going to be stacking armor like there's no tomorrow. Encore bot side.
Yeah, Helium Bamboo is taken low, firing off a beautiful Q down onto Jigbean, though, and Karma Legend can only get one to answer back, but is now caught out near the alcove with Vampiric Narwhal.
Somebody's on the wrong side of the map right now.
And yeah, that Seraphine's just dead. That being said, Rennick.
Here come the cavalry.
Here, Junk Sleep also coming down, probably going to lock up this champion for long enough for this to ultimately be a 2-for-2 play. But the issue is, TD Syndicate are dropping Shelly mid while this is all happening, getting not one but two towers off of it.
Narwhal is just buying time there. The 2-for-2 trade in the terms of HP bars and kills goes even, but with the fact that they bought so much time and attention down bot side, we saw that Herald crack open mid twice over, taking the tier 1 and the tier 2, and Verinda and Lemon are now in such strong positions.
Hey, Junk Sleep finally got a kill. Maybe we can start seeing this Akshan do something, you know? That's the dream. That's the hope. But Aeon will need to have some very solid stacking of their CC during a team fight for this champion to do what they want to do. And yet again, we're seeing a staggering of the ultimates between Rennick and Karma Legend. And so because that is the case, and we're at the 21-minute mark, TD Syndicate really is going to start spreading out on that map, setting up for Baron Nashor and the like, and from there, controlling the tempo of the game as we move on past the laning phase.
Yeah, it's really will be interesting to see what the side of Aeon tries to do. Looking for a bit more picks. They're going to want to wait until that Encore's back up, and hopefully the next team fight they take, they'll be able to layer it and feel the power of those ultis combined. Because that's really their strongest point, is when they're using those ultimates together. And Glizzy's just going to try and scale up to be this big frontliner. But right now, Zax is just doing his job better than he is.
I mean, it's 2 items versus 1 items, and unfortunately, I think that that is oftentimes most felt when you're playing a tank, right? You were just substantially less powerful and can take substantially less abuse than Blue Squad right now. But that being said, Zax is getting caught out, and you know, that deficit of tank items doesn't matter so much in a 3v1. Big shutdown picked up by Rennick there.
Listen, Zax, I know you're trying to escape, but there's 3 people there.
The flash,
you ain't getting out. Why are you flashing?
Yeah, I feel that that is like one of the classic things to learn and kind of push back against in low elo. You see a lot of people just flash willy-nilly because there's like hope upon hope that they'll be able to get out. And sometimes they do, right? Sometimes you do luck out. You get a really clutch one over the wall or something like that, or people just can't chase you down because they miss all of their skill shots trying to follow you. But especially in coordinated play, that is a massive punch back against TD Syndicate and their ability to go for stuff like team fights. That being said, Verinda clearly didn't get that message. They still want to try to go for this one, and Helium Bamboo, working as an artillery mage over the wall, is going to lock them up for long enough for TE Aeon to be once again repelled from the spot side river.
But something to note is when they picked Zax there, they burned the Curse of the Sad Mummy, and Dragon is now up. Once again, the combo of Encore and Sad Mummy is not there. So it looks like they're not even going to fight this. Are they trying to trade this for Baron?
Aeon are going to try to rush Baron, it looks like, Bickle. I
don't know if they can do this.
This is not a call they should be making. It's always a banger in the BOL, and there's always a Baron throw to be had. But come on, guys. You don't have to act like your Platt brethren and lose the whole game off of this. Please, 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 just peel away from it.
This zone, but I think he's just going to die.
Once again, Helium Bamboo fires off their ultimate, and then Encore goes completely wide. Karma Legend is going to grief their team, as now Cade fights Purchase on the backline, and TE Aeon are torn asunder.
I don't know what Karma Legend was thinking. They had a perfect Encore, and they flashed to move it out of everybody. So instead of landing a 4-man charm, the only person they hit was their own Akshan. They got nothing out of it, and that's a 5 for nothing.
Yep, and that's Baron. That's Soul Point. That's Baron taken by TD Syndicate in the span of like a minute and a half. I can't flame too hard, right? IBS at the end of the day is supposed to be a developmental league. These are players who are looking to improve, and we are privileged to be able to see their hard work night after night here, you know? That being said, I think that they have hopefully learned their lesson that you should never go for a cross-map Baron against a team that is moving to Soul Point, that has a massive gold advantage, and just generally, when you don't have a fast take, you cannot try to like do something to like go for like a fight and turn or reclaps. I don't even know what the call was. I'll be 100% honest here, Bickle.
I understand they were trying to trade it, but they started it way too late and did way too little damage on the Baron to burn it. By the time that TD got there, there was a fight that was going to break out no matter what. I think even if they get the Baron, they all still die there.
Yep.
Like,
there's no way
I just
really
don't know what they were thinking there.
Yeah. I mean, sure, you have Sivir. Sivir is notoriously a pretty decent Baron taker, but look what else you have, right? You have Rennick on a Mumu and Glizzy Gobbler on a Dr. Mundo that's been struggling to get to 2 items for like 15 minutes at this point, right? Like, there's just nothing for you to do there that gives me confidence in saying, yeah, it's the right play to rush topside river. Either fight for that dragon, which is going to be a coin flip regardless, or just try to push down some towers, maybe look at that mid-tier 1, for instance, and try to find a late game angle back into this one. But now all those options seem to have been eliminated. Aeon are slipping on the gold front. Zax Gaming with a really good split push here might finally get caught out, as there are 3 members coming their way. But now TD Syndicate are able to run a siege down mid lane with only Junk Sleep there to answer back against it.
They're blowing a lot to try and get Zax right there. They blow the Curse of the Sad Mummy and the On the Hunt. They lose an inhibitor because of that. But hey, you killed the Cho'Gath.
Yeah, you killed a Cho'Gath who already got shut down earlier, so it's not actually a ton of gold over their side. I'm not going to call that worth. I guess that TE Aeon was thinking, yeah, there's no way they can end here, and they're taking that inhibitor regardless, so maybe we pick up a kill against the top laner, and that's at least some gold back during what has been a very, very good Baron power play for TD.
It's been a great position for TD right now. Lemon trying to find more, and they're just looking to siege away right now. They're stacking together, make sure nobody can get picked. They know there's no Curse of the Sad Mummy threat, so they're not afraid to step up on the only engage that is Rennick right now.
Well, you know, TE Aeon, they're going to try to do what they can to hold under this tower. The unfortunate part is that TD Syndicate have insane siege potential, and we see what that turns into right there. Helium Bamboo just shooting out Lux lasers left, right, and center, and oftentimes they land true. This time onto Jigbean alongside the ace in the hole from Vampiric Narwhal.
Yeah, Jigbean was just getting poked out by everything. Ate some of the death lasers from Victor, got chunked out, couldn't get out of the final spark, but even if they were, the ace in the hole was on their way, and just did not work out well. And right now, TD Syndicate's just in complete control of the situation. Next dragon spawning is their Infernal Soul if they can grab it. But in all honesty, they're in position to take this either way. Lemonsap 5-0-5, working towards a death cap. Zax Gaming getting towards his third armor item with that Thornmail. It's just going to be impossible to kill this Cho'Gath.
Amumu on a little bit of a flinky splinky here, maybe trying to find the angle to steal this dragon away, as the rest of TE Aeon has to try to find a lance back towards their bot side jungle. They're just getting hit by everything, though. Zax Gaming slowing them down with the Q. Jigbean already less than half health. Karma Legend going to absorb the brunt of that ace in the hole. But
Renek's on the deep flank here.
With a massive control over this bot side river and the dragon pit. It is now up. This is
so he's just going for a Hail Mary, Steve.
All right. I mean, he's on the far side wall. There's vision.
They know
on
he's there. They have vision.
Guys, just pull it out.
Pull it out. You see him. You know he's there. And for God's sakes, he steals it.
Oh my God, TD Syndicate. They aren't even going to get the kill back.
He's not going to get out of this, is he?
Karma Legend is the one that they're going to try to focus down, but with the flash of the three-man encore, Syndicate are just going to be faced with highway robbery.
Rennek just
pull it out!
Rennek just says TY for leash, hee, and then walks away as the rest of TD Syndicate turns over and just tries to burst down Karma Legend, who hits the encore and flashes over the wall. That's a dragon for nothing. If Junksleep can get out of this because he's being chased down, forced to flash.
Right, you know, Flash plus heroic swing.
He's 007. He's getting out of there like it's nothing. What just happened?
Dodges. I mean, you know, Helium Bamboo has finally met their match in regards to landing skill shots, right? It takes full-on, like, parabolic dashes for this person to be put behind there on the Lux. Still, though, TDC can do rule the roost. Let's be honest here, Bickle. This is still a very, very tough game for TE Aeon to come back in. But, hey, that's a start. Getting themselves second dragon, you know, they'll be able to try to rally for a fight again. Maybe with their pick potential off the back of the Auction, I almost said the Karma because it's Karma Legend on Seraphine, but the Seraphine and Rennek on the Amumu. Maybe we could see something happen. But right now, Baron is nearly on the table, and TD Syndicate are rushing it.
Yeah, they're going right over there. I'm wondering what happened back at that dragon. It looked like there was an early smite from Verinda. I'm wondering if they were trying to get Zax the extra stack on that chomp to get him even bigger. And it just didn't get timed right, and they didn't have enough damage for it, and that meant that Rennek could solve the problem by just going in. But anyways, just pull it.
just pull it.
Please. But instead, it looks like, as you mentioned, TD Syndicate getting set up for Baron. Up 5k gold, and they're looking to step up here and make sure that a contest and a steal ain't gonna happen this time.
Encore is fired off, is gonna hit a lot, but Jigbean doesn't want to walk up to try to save Rennek, who's now gonna get it by the ace in the hold and the Kane ultimate. Stays alive through both of them because of the shielding, but eventually Helium Bamboo with the AoE picks the kill up.
You can't steal a Baron if you're dead. And
True.
Rennek is dead, so now TD Syndicate's gonna feel pretty good about just heading over to this Baron for free. And yeah, they finally used both ultimates at the same time, but it was to disengage.
All right, and Helium Bamboo's just out of there. I guess Flash was enough for TE Aeon to be deterred from further walking up, which honestly is probably the correct choice. Right now, TD Syndicate is strong enough to turn and fight instead of just taking the Baron down, but it is eventually nommed on by that Cho'Gath. They are a big boy, and this is probably going to be enough to end the game.
It really should be. TD Syndicate just in a strong position at the moment. Glizzy Gobbler actually opted into the Titanic Hydra for extra wave clear and damage. I just don't think that's the right call, especially when you're this far behind. You just need to be as beefy a front line as possible because you're not going to be able to clear waves and push this in. And now he's being pushed off, while topside, they're being pushed in as 3. We at least see 2 members of TD Syndicate forced back to respond to Glizzy, so this does delay the Baron push a little bit. But look at Zax right now. He's at 11 Cho'Gath stacks. He has 5.5k HP. He is a monster right now, sitting on over 300 armor. It's impossible for anybody here to really melt him unless Junksleep and Jigbean are just putting every auto they have into him, at which point Verinda, Lemon, and Narwhal are just going to be pumping out damage.
There's just not really an angle anymore. I think that all of the chances that Aeon had to just layer 2 ultimates together, it's not that hard, guys. Just get Rennick and Karmalenja on the same page, and you probably have a chance during a team fight. Those are all evaporated, Bickle. Right now, it's just a matter of them turtling up and praying that they could withstand this next dragon take, that they could withstand an Elder Dragon as well, and maybe they get ultra late to where builds are going to matter a little bit less because everybody's getting fed. Maybe Jigbean from there will be able to do something, but as it currently stands, they're just getting run around the entirety of the map.
It feels like the pivot has come in for Tenebrous Esports. They're saying, okay, Mundo, you're not going to be our frontliner. You're going to be our split pusher. And that's what the Hydra is for. As we look, he's threatening these side lanes as that forces a TP back from Lemon. That means if this fight is taken and Glizzy TP's in, that's a 5v4 for Tenebrous Esports. That puts him in a great position. But damage is already chunked out. But look who's on the flank again. Rennick's trying to do it again. He can't do it twice,
Rennick,
right?
Can they go runner on the steals?
He can't do it again.
Deny away the soul. I mean, they're sitting here. They're going to
You learned your lesson, right?
Pull
it out.
Is basically blind as well. Aeon doing
Are they about to do it again?
Strike for their jungler. Eventually, the Amumu just said, "Screw it! I'm just gonna walk straight up to it." Smite already used.
That's Smite.
Why did you do that? He has a chance. He's in the pit. He gets a second steal.
That's again. They greed for the Cho'Gath stack. But
what in the world?
What are you doing? Take the soul. It's free. Stop.
Zax is big enough, he can't even fit through doorways anymore. You don't need to get him even more HP. I mean, that being said, Aeon is getting routed here. Here's a big push down mid lane. But I mean, guys, come on. Like, they're tied up on dragons at this point, Bickle. It's been a clown fiesta bot side.
What is going on? I have no idea right now.
I mean, look at this. Zax didn't need a stack. Look at how strong he is. He's finally taken him out of Blizzy Gobbler. But
you know, I bet if he had an extra Cho'Gath stack there, he lives.
Oh my God, maybe. Is that what this is all about?
That's all about. I bet Zax made a bet about over/under how many Cho'Gath stacks he can get, and he's trying to meet it. And despite everything, TD Syndicate are still on a very strong game control right now. But this game should be over. This game should be over twice.
It's okay. I mean, you know, Verinda may now have missed 2 separate core neutral objectives, but at the same time, they could probably still qualify for a World Finals team, you know. They're at PO6 level right now.
Absolutely. World Finalist, NA player, extraordinaire. That's all you need. Who needs to smite?
Oh God, I can't even play-by-play this anymore.
This is... Listen, I have no idea what's happening right now. This is just... Listen, I cast IBS regularly. I'm used to the Clown Fiesta. I'm used to chaos. I don't know what those dragons were. I can't help you, man.
Oh, brother. And, I mean, Aeon has bought a lot of time. We're 36 minutes into the game at this point.
Siver's scaling.
Yeah, Sivir is, in fact, scaling. They're at 2.5 items, almost 3 items right now. Obviously, it being IBS, these builds are a little bit delayed because just CS is not a concept that people have fully internalized. But that being said, it's not like Vampiric Narwhal is going to be doing any better than the Sivir in this department, so props to them on that front. A few shutdowns, you know, a few picks, and actually TE Aeon very much could get back into this game off the back of Jigbean. That being said, Verinda really wants to make sure that the Sivir doesn't get the chance to get those kills, trying to rush them down here. And yet again, the Baron dance will begin. Third one on the map. You know, these haven't been stolen just yet, so...
Baron number 3! Give it up for Baron number 3!
Oh, man. I swear, TD Syndicate, like, prior to those 2 dragons, probably could have just sent one person to AFK behind the pit to watch for Rennick, and they probably still could have won a 4v5.
They could have done this. They could have found Rennick and murdered him and taken it for free. I think they've finally learned, hopefully, to stop whatever they were doing with these Cho'Gath stacks. But we shall have to wait and see, as they are now setting up for Baron, which should be uncontested with the fact that
Yeah, with the fact that Karma Legend just blew
That was an encore?
for literally nothing. Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna stop questioning it. Maybe they thought there was somebody in the vision, despite the fact that they had vision in the bush.
Well,
But-
you know, it's not like you could just check with Q or E or a ward. You know, like you have.
We're in
summon
for a
area,
long
right?
night,
Like,
aren't we?
if someone's in there, you hit them with an ability, summon area is going to very much confirm, even if you close your eyes and bobble your head up and down for a few seconds, that someone is in the bush or not. But no, encore it is.
I mean, that's certainly one way to do it. Final Dragon. Dragon number 7 is finally spawning in 50 seconds. And there's no way it gets stolen a third time.
There's no way,
Right?
Nickel.
There's no way. They have to have learned their lesson about pulling it out or killing the jungler beforehand. I mean, I really hope they did, because I don't know if my heart can take it if it gets stolen again.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. Ultimates are going to be up for everybody. Karma Legend's
All right.
in trouble.
Well, Karma Legend's gonna
that's
thank their
junk.
lucky stars that they get out of that one. I mean, Helium Bamboo, just a few ticks.
Oh
to
my
the left
God.
With their Q,
Oh my
they would have been
God.
dead in an instant. Now they actually pull out 2 ultimates to finally be sent back to the fountain. But hey, a pick's a pick. TD Syndicate, you know, they're a little bit closer to securing that soul.
They are, but they don't have the main man himself yet. Rennick's still
He's in River
looking.
again.
He can't keep getting away with this.
Dude, he's playing this like it's Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. I don't know how he keeps finding angles
Dude,
in. Finally,
That
he's
was
a little bit late on the
closer than it
bandage
should.
dodge.
Because
It
once
really
again,
was.
TD
He's finally gonna
didn't pull
die for
out
his
the damn
trouble.
dragon.
Oh man, that was a mess. That was. TD Syndicate should just be clearing out the game from here on out, right? Like we got maybe
TD Syndicate
one more
should
team
clear
fight.
this out, but I swear when this game is over, Super Square, who's their coach, is going to be yelling at them like there's no tomorrow. Because, dear God, this is taking longer than it should.
Maybe this is an accelerationist thing on TD Syndicate's side, right? Because imagine if they had Elder Dragon stolen. The game actually could have been even at that point. Like, I think that TD Syndicate are sandbagging their ability to get soul, so they get all the giggles out, right? And now from here on out, they deny TEA on the chance to just get Reddick behind the pit for something like Elder Dragon, and the game's just over from there. We're seeing, once again, the inhibitor being taken down mid. But really good grouping here from Aeon around these last 2 Nexus turrets. Nobody overextending, and that does mean that they're able to mount yet another defense. I think we may be going in for another Baron before this game truly comes to its close at this point.
Baron number 4. There is no way we get to 4 Barons, right? That's absolute insanity. Right now, the side of Tenebrous Esports trying to just farm in their base as much as they can, get more items onto these carries. I don't know about this Blade of the Rune King on Sivir. I'm not a fan personally. I think you're going to need an LDR.
Right, we got an engaged Rennick finally going to be able to stack with Karma
what they
Legend.
needed.
That's a big encore, but unfortunately TD Syndicate, even under the tower, are the ones picking up the kills. Bamboo is now traded for 2 members, and I don't even think they're going to need to take this topside inhibitor. They're just going to end the game as Karma Legend is knocked down by Zax Gaming. All they need is one more wave, and this game will be in the books in favor of TD Syndicate.
Yeah, TD Syndicate lose Helium Bamboo to start the fight off the engage of Rennick with Karma Legend on the follow-up, but that's the only person they can get. The rest of TD Syndicate proves too tanky to deal with, and they punch down 3 of them. Rennick and Jigbean are the last members standing. Zax Gaming is an HP bar bigger than the damn Nexus, and he's just sitting there like nothing's happening. And it's just being cleaned up for now. That's going to be an easy win in the end.
Hey, do we get paid more for these games? Because that was like 2 plat games stacked back to back in a horrible Siamese twin abomination.
Wait, you guys are getting paid?
Oh, crap. Well, you know, game number 1 certainly was a banger. That's like one way to put it, in the same way that, like, you know, a body bag will bang down a flight of stairs if you drop it. Like, I mean, TD Syndicate should have ended that game probably like 10 to 15 minutes earlier, but hey, a dub is a dub at the end of all that.
They are happy they got the win.
Yeah.
They are not happy how they got to it.
Yeah, I mean, TE Aeon clearly have signs of life, right? Like, Reddick, an absolute psychopath, and making calls that paid off, eventually got Aeon to a point where they had a genuine chance at contesting for Soul, but alas, it was all too little too late. Too many picks had been had, and we did not see Red Squad's composition actually pay off the way that we were hoping. So
Yeah.
with all that in mind, it is in fact going to be TD Syndicate walking away with game number 1. We're going to throw it to a quick break, and we will return shortly with the second draft of the night.
Move my body back and forth. 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 Move my body. Back to the old school.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Blue Otter League IBS division, where we are just going to ignore what happened in the last 15 minutes of game number 1 and just say, hey, good job, TD Syndicate. You guys got the dub. Now you're on red side. Let's see if they can make it 2 in a row.
Yep, clean win for TD Syndicate. Totally nothing else happened in that game whatsoever. No chaos. That was pretty smooth of them. But because of that, we're going to be heading into game number 2. Sides have swapped, as you mentioned. First ban already being swapped up. We see the Caitlyn taken away from Vampiric Narwhal, whereas Syndicate's riding the same strategy so far with that Anivia, and the Tarek gone as well.
All right, unfortunately, TE Aeon did not check PayPal fast enough. They didn't see that I paid them to not ban away the Tarek, one of my favorite champions. So, alas, it will be denied from Helium Bamboo for a second game running. Now, let's see what happens with Aeon getting that B1 pick. Caitlyn Lux was the choice for TD Syndicate. We could be seeing a steal away at that, but instead, it's going to be that other really OP long-range AD carry with the Varus locked in.
Yep, Aeon banned away the Varus in game number 1, and Narwhal ended up taking the Caitlyn. So instead, they decided to ban away the Caitlyn this side and take away the Varus's B1, saying, okay, Narwhal, you played Varus twice last week, you played Caitlyn once this time, what else you got for me? And the answer, please tell me this is going to be locked in. I know Narwhal loves it, and it's going to be the Twitch.
And unfortunately, with the most recent adjustments, it's probably not going to be Twitch support. That's something that I really love to see in low elo, just because it can absolutely destroy mentals with surprising efficiency. But now AP is a little bit less viable on him. I imagine that we're going to just see Helium Bamboo go to something that synergizes quite nicely with this. Hey, Yuumi is back in the meta.
Yuumi is disabled.
Ah, crap.
I like your thinking, but she is disabled due to a recent rework. Instead, though, we're going to be getting an aggressive engaged champion out of Helium Bamboo with the Leona in an instant response with the Thresh.
All right, well, we're going to be getting some more action of a completely different flavor on the bot side of the map this time around, Bickle, and I am here for it because, sure, Helium Bamboo was dressed to impress on that Lux, and man, did they also just depress TE Aeon with their performance, but now we're going to be seeing them going towards that Leona. Zenith Blade's a lot easier to hit than Light Binding is all I got to say.
Just a little bit easier.
All right, well, the Jarvan's also going to be picked up on TE Aeon's side. I just talked about this. I really wanted Rennick to go to a champion like the Jarvan, who I think is just a little bit better in terms of playing that high-tempo, heavy gank style that the Amumu was angling for. Now, you have a lot of utility, a lot of really good lockup. The double Cataclysm box is actually pretty crazy, can keep champions really zoned into you for quite a long time if you're able to stack those two abilities properly. And hey, Karma Legend and Rennick were getting a little bit more into sync as that first game went on.
They really were, and hopefully that continues to grow that synergy, because if it does, we're going to see some good things happen down here. But TD Syndicate going to take away and get Veigar for Lemon Sap, that of course was in that Phase 2 bans last time. Instead, just making sure that option to take it away is not there.
All right, well, I do like the fact that Veigar has been kind of snuck into this first round of picks by TD Syndicate. This is something that clearly Aeon was afraid of as they banned it out in game number 1 during the second phase. But this does mean we're going to get a new look to this bottom side of the draft. In particular, I want to see Syndicate get a little bit of a more consistent champion than the Kayn into the hands of Verinda, who clearly has the ability to make plays happen early. It was just the fact that, you know, Kayn was struggling to find a lane that could really pressure super hard. As we said before, Glizzy Gobbler playing that Mundo, very difficult to gank. They really wanted to go for Red Kayn in that game anyway, so there was nothing really to do but try to focus this champion down. Hopefully this time around we won't be seeing that same kind of dynamic come into play for Syndicate, as the band's pretty much a solid read on the meta in my eyes. Aeon going to be knocking out that Cho'Gath that Zax Gaming absolutely dominated their top laner on. Darius, another big bully, also taken away. That's leaving the hole open for the big man on campus. Gragas coming through, and there's a whole lot of flex potential to go along with it.
Yeah, the belliest superior to all. Flexible, could be heading to Zax or Verinda, depending on the situation. Of course, a solid jungler and top laner in its own right. But Aeon going to run it back with Glizzy Gobbler on this Mundo, saying it wasn't the Mundo that was the problem. It was the Cho'Gath that was against. So they ban away the Cho'Gath, say you can't respond with the same thing this time. We're hoping it turns out better for Glizzy this time. But likely, we're going to be seeing Rennick spend a lot of time now towards that bot side, as opposed to last time where we saw him topside a couple times. And mid laner, we're going to see something with a lot of CC in the Annie, as opposed to that Akshan, which just did not really seem to work.
I think that this is a much better look for Junk Sleep, who very much was kind of preoccupied with having to pilot a very difficult champion there in the mid lane. Now we're going to be able to see their brain function much more on the lines of just, hey, I flash in, I press 2 buttons, and all of a sudden I win team fights. What can I now do from a shot calling and macro perspective? Annie is in such a good spot right now. I think that up against the Veigar, it's going to do a great job kind of leveraging a free lane into a power spike that comes slightly before Lemon Sap, as long as this Veigar doesn't pick up a ton of kills early. And from there, you can really dominate games, especially given the aforementioned massive lockdown that Jarvan and Thresh provide.
Speaking of locking down and taking over games, that's exactly what Zax is going to be looking to do here. on this Alawi. He's played it before. He's found success before. And really, if Alawi gets rolling, she becomes such a menace in a side lane to try and take down. It'll be really hard for the side of Aeon to stop this Alawi if she's allowed to get rolling.
Yeah, Alawi is a champion that, very similar to what I talked about in game number 1 with the bot lane of Syndicate, functions as kind of a gamble. You need to get ahead early. You need to really dominate your lane. But that being said, TD Syndicate now has that sample size of the first game to see how their top lane fares against Glizzy Gobbler, and clearly it has been a story of domination. So the fact they go for a lane bully makes a lot of sense. You might as well take that gamble on one of these lanes, given the almost guaranteed scaling power of the Twitch and Veigar later, and Gragas is just the consummate enabler for champions like this.
You found success being lane dominant with something that's not meant to be a lane dominant pick. Now let's see what you can do with a champ that needs to be a lane dominant pick. Because Alawi, without lane dominance, you're going to smack some people with tentacles and it might hurt. With lane dominance, you're going to be a side laning menace that cannot be answered by just about everybody in the game. And that's really all in the hands of Zax Gaming. He's done it before, and he's been that side lane menace, but I've also seen him die to towers. So, Zax, I'm putting faith in you. I like what the side of TD Syndicate has. I think, based on what we've seen and the comp standardness, I don't think that Tenebrous Esports has enough of a draft gap to overcome what I feel is a mechanics gap for TD Syndicate. So I am going to give my vote here to TD Syndicate.
And how can you not, right? Aeon just kind of gap themselves and really throw this draft away by banning away the Cho'Gath, which got them 2 free dragons because of TD Syndicate's predilection and addiction to trying to get stacks on that champion. So, I mean, with that off the board, this Gragas is grabbing every single one. They're going to be stampeding towards Soul. But I will say Aeon is looking better overall with their 5-man than what I saw in game number 1. And I actually gave them a credit. I thought that they were going to win off that draft. It's just unfortunate that, given I haven't really seen a whole lot from these players, that it ultimately just turned out that they weren't really able to pilot them to perfection. Here, it's still looking consistent, but the problem is now I just have so many doubts about the top lane. I have so many doubts about Jigbean and Karma Legend as well that I feel I do have to once again give credit over to TD Syndicate, even with the side swap, even with once again them going to a few funky champions.
I will say I'm really excited to see what Narwhal does on this Twitch. He's always begging his coaches to give him hyper carries like the Kog'Maw on the Twitch, and they're always saying, nope, you're on Misfortune duty, or nope, you're on Varus duty. He finally gets his hyper carry. Let's see what you can do with it, Narwhal, because if you don't win this game, I guarantee you're never seeing a hyper carry again on this team.
All right, I got a question for you, Bickle. Do you prefer the people who ego on hyper carries or the people who ego on stuff like Draven and really lane dominant ADCs?
I love lane dominant AD carries. If you're saying I am better than you and I'm going to win the game from level 1, that's just such a show of dominance.
But, like, what about the people who think they can win from level 1, but actually cannot? In the same way that you have people who are like, don't worry, guys, we scale, and they're at, like, 150 CS at 40 minutes.
Oh, God. It's something else seeing them say, I got this, guys. Don't. Like, they lock in the Draven. I got this. We're going to win right here. They walk up, miss their axes, don't get the W resets, and die level 1 to, like, an Ashe. Yep. It's like, well, this game's over.
They always flash on them, die, and then immediately type FF. It happens almost invariably, especially in low elo. But hey, you know, I don't really want to prophesize what's going to be happening here in game number 2.
Then they spam ping their support saying, why didn't you do this?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god. Here's the thing, right? Like, on this topic, I do think that I hate Draven players more. Kalista players are kind of in the same boat, right? Because they are very vocal about how much they hate you on support. But like, that being said, hyper carry ego wars are like just a step below on the scale, right? Because like what they do is they type all of laning phase, say don't worry we scale, mute all, and then just run it down top after like the 20
exactly. If they die early, it's like don't worry, I'm better later. I'm gonna do all this damage. I'm gonna carry on a 1v9. It doesn't matter. Versus with the Draven or the Kalista, they're like, I'm going in, and if you don't come with me, I'm going to die in blame.
If you don't go in, I'm calling you a racial slur at AFK at 14 minutes.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that being said, we do have to throw it to a quick break. That's not going to be happening here in the BOL. This is a professional operation, guys, and we got a very professional, exciting game of League of Legends in the pipeline. No flame to be had whatsoever. We're going to be loading on the Rift very shortly. We'll see you guys there.
The best. Yo, cool, way less. My crew, the best. Make the place blow up. My crew, the best. Yo, cool, way less. My crew, the best.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Blue Otter League IBS division. We got TE Aeon and TD Syndicate facing off against one another for the second round running. Aeon dropped game number 1, but it was clean. TD Syndicate, they were playing textbook League of Legends from front to back, Mikkel. I mean, a 22-minute game. You don't see those too
Yeah, there's
often.
nothing they could do about it. 4-0 sweep on the Dragons, Baron early, push it down mid. Game was over before he even knew. Clean as all hell. But yeah,
Shout out to TD Syndicate. Oh, sorry, you go.
I was going to say, speaking of BOL IBS, I want to give everybody else a rundown of what's going on across the league right now with the rest of the games, as this is the one we are streaming, but that does not mean it's the only one going on. Currently, Tectonic is up 1-0 over CB Syndicate. Not TD Syndicate, CB Syndicate. And yes, they are in the same division, so there might come a time where I have to cast TD Syndicate versus CB Syndicate. I'm not looking forward to that. Also, SNC Sunset Ravens are up 1-0 on Mystic Cats Red. Event Horizon Kaizen up on Rev per minute. CBDE Clowns are up on Glacial Omen. CBDE Forsaken are up on SG Tau. TD Dusk are up on the AH Danger Bunnies. And SG Neutron are taking down ATS Renegades. So right now, all pretty expected results across the league. Don't know how clean some of these games were, but right now, everybody's heading into game 2, so somebody's on the edge in every game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what kind of happens in a best-of-3 scenario. You got some tight variations in regards to what could possibly happen during those rounds, and so, therefore, already a lot of people on the ropes hoping to push these games late. As currently stands, TE Aeon going for pretty standard draft this game number 2, trying to shore up some of the weaknesses that we saw in that first matchup, which, let's be 100% honest here, Bickle was not the cleanest, but still TD Syndicate were dominant from pretty early on. A lot of what we saw come through in that 45-minute game really flowed back to how these lanes were managed, and it was just domination on a lot of fronts from Syndicate because that was the case.
Yeah, it was dominant even from level 1 when we saw that Narwhal and Helium got that early kill against Jigbean with their early bush cheese. But right now, both teams just going to be scaling up. Something to note, Verinda going for that Dark Harvest on Gragas makes me think that we're going to see that AP Bomba Gragas in the jungle with maybe a Night Harvester.
And that's kind of an interesting choice
Oh.
in my eyes. We do got to talk about the fact that Vampiric Narwhal just got hit by a
He's just dead.
beautiful death sentence, and that's first blood picked up by Karma Legend off the back of the Ignite. Oh man, that was absolutely beautiful to see from their side, as now we once again are getting a gank. This time it's going to be in the mid lane. Verinda trying to find an angle onto Junk Sleep.
Karma Legend just bent that death sentence like it was Beckham. Because I swear she threaded the needle through all of those minions. Narwhal thought he was safe. What was it not in the end? Lemon Sap getting chunked a lot.
Yeah, getting Lemon slapped up there in the mid lane. A lot of priority being put there. Verinda already repelled from the gank. I think also is providing the opportunity for Aeon to try to further the advantage that they've already grabbed in terms of money across the map. I would like to see them really heavily prioritize early dragons because, hey, clearly TD Syndicate has massive gaps in their ability to confidently take those even when they are in dominant situations. So it could just be the chance that we get a free soul over to Blue Squad's side as long as they continue to push forward. Glizzy Gobbler is not having a fun time top, though.
No. Zax is just pulling in that test of spirit and then just wailing away with those harsh lessons and melting Glizzy's HP bar. Already forced out the pot alongside the Ghost. Glizzy's having a rough go around it right now and gets another pull in.
Yeah, those are like the nightmare scenarios where you just kind of get chain E'd over and over again. Glizzy Gobbler just unfortunately is not playing a champion with any amount of mobility. They just got to wiggle, and hope that they can dodge out of the way of that skill shot. But given the priority that Zax Gaming has, the fact that they're able to push out these waves so fast, there's just nothing there to cower behind when that's thrown out.
Yeah, and really you see Zax just taking advantage in this lane. But luckily for them at the moment, we do see that Jigbean and Karma Legend holding their own. Obviously got that early kill. Like to see that, and hopefully they're able to push this advantage a little more, see if Karma Legend can land any more of these death sentences like that one.
I mean, they sure do it. Vampiric Narwhal already taken low. Helium Bamboo trying to jump in. Peel for their AD carry who's going low.
Oh,
has to
close!
flash out. Nice little stun there is actually going to prevent the Thresh from being able to get down on top of the ADC. But now Helium Bamboo's in trouble because of that reduced cooldown on the Q. Jigbean will be able to pick that one up with a little bit of help from Karma Legend. By a little bit of help, I mean an absolutely masterful display of Thresh skills.
All right, I'm gonna call up Freak because I think he made this Q cooldown a little bit too little because that thing's up like it's nothing.
Yeah,
Landing
late game, man, I was not prepared for like how low the cooldown can get.
Yeah,
Like
I'm like,
3
okay,
seconds.
he walks it out, he flashed, they're out, but no, there's another hook to follow up on a Helium Bamboo. There is so much lockdown out of Thresh. I absolutely love when this champion is meta because it makes so much happen.
All right, Lemon Sap level 6.
Cage?
Huge cage on the Junk Sleep, and there's just no cleanse or anything to get the Annie out. So that's a solo bolo over to the hyper carry on TD side.
Yep, that's who you need those kills be going on. We see Vampiric Narwhal falling behind, working towards that Bork. Lemon Sap going to have to be the man of the hour alongside with Zax in the side lane, who's already picked up a plate and a half of gold, which you like to see. Glizzy Gobbler just trying to do his best to survive right now, as his first dragon looks to be pretty solidly heading over to TD Syndicate once again. But the fight has looking like it's going to break out soon here as they're wrapping around.
And I like the fact that Aeon is trying to go for the contests here. Bamboo,
Beautiful play,
I
and-
think too far forward off that Zenith.
What are these hooks?
Great follow-up from Karma Legend. Vampiric Narwhal on a big flank will be able to trade one back, but Lemon Sack being taken down as well means TD Syndicate need to try to run out of this river. But unfortunately, Karma Legend is just too clean with it. Eventually, a double kill flows over to Junk Sleep.
What is this aimbot and where can I buy it? Because Karma Legend's hitting every damn thing right now. If you move, he will hook. And damn, it's impressive. Don't ever put this man on Seraphine again.
Yeah, like, I guess it's just, like, too easy to hit skill shots on Seraphine, and therefore, Karma Legend's Giga Brain just does too many calculations, and it glitches out, right? That's why we saw them absolutely massively whiff an Encore around a Baron fight, because I don't think that's going to be happening here on this Thresh. They are filthy.
Yeah, it is absolutely dirty. 2-0-3 on the Thresh right now, completely dominant, landing all the CC you can. Narwhal in a really rough position right now at 0-2-2, working towards that Bork. And even the disengage off of Helium Bamboo and the Zenith Blade was able to flay it away and stop the engage from coming in. Karma Legend has been playing such a phenomenal.
And now all eyes are kind of on Lemon Sap in this game for them to be able to do anything. The problem is, given the fact that the Vagar before that play was the only person with the kill, it kind of sucks that following that dragon, Junk Sleep now walks back to lane 2-1-2 on the Annie. Massively fed in their own right, able to easily answer back against that Vagar's small gold advantage that they grabbed when they got the solo kill. And now because that is the case, Aeon have just straight up winning lanes everywhere except for top side of the map. Where Glizzy
Meanwhile,
Gobbler
top
is,
side,
yeah,
Zach's
except
gaming
for-
another hook. What is this?
Man. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Zach's Gaming is just trying to hit a Tessa Spear for every hook that Karma Legend lands. And finally, one is going to go wide. And that means Jigbean's getting encroached upon. Helium Bamboo with a nice Zenith Blade. Finally, a kill over to Vampiric Narwhal is going to be secured.
Okay, listen. Nobody hits 100%. He had to miss eventually.
Yeah,
and he did disengage with the flay. He can't get all three, though, with the fact that Verinda's there, so Jigbean does fall. But topside's looking really solid for Zax right now, who's up 50 CS in 9 minutes.
It's such a weird spot to be in. I think that, like, Verinda should probably just help set up dives against Glizzy Gobbler, right? Because, sure, it is the case that the Mundo is a completely useless sack of shit right now, but there's still a lot of gold to be extracted from that lane, and I really do think you need to get kills over to the Alawi for them to be super functional. Right now, they're just kind of hanging on to dominance by virtue of getting CS. That's not enough when you realize that Aeon is farming well everywhere else.
Yeah, Aeon's in a really solid position. They're going to try and get on the Lemon, though. Not going to get anything out of it.
All right, yeah, I mean, that is going to get a flash. That's something to be pulled out of that lane by TE Aeon, and, you know, that's going to free up a lot of
this?
Junk Sleep to try
What
something.
is this?
Bot side of the map, I don't even think that we need to focus on what the Annie's doing, because, once again, Karma Legend just pops off with the Q, and Vampiric Narwhal once again is sent back to the fountain.
Glizzy,
Now,
no.
finally, I think we're going to be seeing that kill that I was talking about. Glizzy Gobbler walks up for the first time past their tower. It is immediately smacked to death by Tentacle Lady.
Can walk up, I'll be fine. He was not fine.
Oh man, this is like the single most depressing top lane match I've seen in a while now. Glizzy Gobbler just unfortunately is getting gapped on all fronts, and that is a shining beacon of hope for TD Syndicate, because God will they need it given how well Karma Legend is performing.
They really will, because Karma Legend is landing these hooks like it's absolutely nothing. Narwhal forced to pop the spray and pray just to clear out the waves and push Jigbean and Karma away, but there's already a Herald down here trying to get Jigbean even more gold, though at this point I think Karma Legend should get the gold, because they deserve it.
And there's another hook right through the tower gonna land. I mean, you can't really follow up. The Shelly charge is guaranteed, though, because of that play, and that's a lot of gold.
It's not about landing them to get a kill. It's about sending a message.
It's about absolutely terrifying the pants off of TD Syndicate. I mean, like, they're gonna have nightmares walking into any place that is unwarranted, because Karma Legend could just be in a bush, ready to thread the needle and ready to make a play. I mean, here, look at this. Flash hook! It's gonna happen! Vampiric Narwhal
Cleanse.
immediately has to cleanse out. Nice solar for an answer back from Helium Bamboo. But, I mean, TD Syndicate can't actually push forward in a 2v3 right now, especially with a dying tower. Finally, Verinda trying to angle in,
Verinda's here.
looking for a chance to throw out
Bomba.
the explosive cast. It scatters the weak beautifully as Reddick is already taken low. Karma Legend, less than half health. Vampiric Narwhal
Everybody
doesn't have
for
health, but I
themselves.
don't think he needed it, especially with Lemon Tap also relocating down here. Helium
Run,
Bamboo is gonna hit
Jiggy,
his
run.
gunshots of their own by getting that Zenith played out, and that is a big cleanup for Red Squad.
Great rotation there in the end. Verinda reads the fact that someone's going out bot side. Vampiric Narwhal is thanking everybody that he took cleanse, because he's been hit by so many hooks he's had to cleanse away from that have saved his life. It's great for him to be in, and with that rotation down by Verinda and Lemon Sap, that allows them to regain a little bit of control, get some gold onto themselves. Meanwhile, topside, Zax Gaming has taken a tower before plates have even fallen. It is currently 1-0-0 with 5.7k gold to his name.
Props to TD Syndicate for making that play at the right time, because they stopped the ability for TE Aeon to take first tower bot, and because that is the case, now Zax
did they learn?
Truly
Did they?
to be reckoned
I
with.
think they learned. They're pulling the dragon.
Oh, they're trying to pull it. I don't think they fully internalized the concept. They just had it drunkenly explained to them by a gold player.
Reddick's going in.
No!
No!
Oh my
No!
god! What the hell?
I quit.
Yeah,
Syndicate, stop going for dragons.
God.
Stop.
Verinda, holy crap, man. Is the D key not working? Like, what's going on?
Well, there's your issue. They have smite on F.
Oh, there we go. But Verinda, you got your buttons backward.
What on earth? Rennick is stealing every dragon like it's not a problem whatsoever, and is just dominating this. Oh, Glizzy, no! Glizzy,
Okay.
run!
I mean, you know, TD Syndicate griefs at bot, Aeon's gonna grief at top. Glizzy
In the
Gobbler.
arms
Will
of
you
the
send
angel.
Play us out, Sam. Oh, jeez. You know, he is kind of giving the
Karma,
rap,
no.
not gonna lie. And now, Helium
I
Bamboo
quit.
is caught out by
I
Big
quit.
Dead Sense, and Vampiric Narwhal fires off the spray and pray. Jigby just
misses.
cannot land the Chains of Corruption, though, but it
Doesn't
doesn't matter
matter.
because their support is just gonna put the lane on their back and get the kill onto the Twitch. And now, even with 3 members of TE Aeon rotating down, Jigby's just gonna pick up both kills. They didn't want anything stolen from themselves. And still, big play on the map for them. Aeon,
Karma
right back in the
Legend
game
is
yet again.
putting this team on his back right
I mean, unbelievable play from them in Rennick, right? The support jungle continuity literally is smacking TD Syndicate on all fronts. This is now a winning bot lane. This is 2 dragons over to Blue Squad's side. And it really is making Glizzy Gobbler kind of a player who just needs to be a nuisance on the map. Nothing else, right?
Yeah.
If they get a 2-minute run through jungle before they die, that's probably enough for Aeon to find purchase elsewhere.
Hey, ref, can I get a PC check? I don't believe this is the same Karma Legend that played last game.
Not the same Karma Legend that channels a really good encore and then flashes to make it work.
Oh, God. Don't remind me. But yeah, and right now, Zax Gaming saying, okay, this Thresh is a problem, but he can't stop me from side laning, so I'm gonna go split push.
Yeah, I mean, Zax Gaming truly is everything you want out of a top laner for TD Syndicate right now, because, yeah, for as big
Mannequin.
as some of Aeon's members are, the big member is not someone who could solo lane, right? It's Jigbean, Karma Legend, it's to a degree Jarvan, it's to a degree Chunk Sleep. It's going to take multiple members to take down the Alawi.
It really will. 2-0-0 right now, has the Divine Sunder working towards God knows what else. 2.5k in the bank that they haven't even bothered to spend, and they're still fighting the bot and support like it's nothing.
I'm just excited for the next 2 minutes where we have another dragon, because at this point, I'm just trying to count how many steals are possible from blue team.
The answer is, at this point, just stop going for them, Syndicate, because you're not going to get them.
Maybe they needed the ones to actually try this deal. And once
Run,
again,
Glizzy!
Glizzy Goblin, he needs to just play Singed, right? You just play Singed. You do exactly what you're doing on the Dr. Mundo, which is run it down, not farm or do anything useful, and boom, you're doing enough as a top laner when you have an absolutely insane jungle, insane support, and a pretty fed mid as well right now.
Glizzy's job is just to be a pain to the entirety of TD Syndicate, and he's doing that, and he's doing it quite well, to be honest. The thing is, this fight, Zax is here.
Yeah,
and
I don't think
Zax
this
is
is one
really
Glizzy can
fed. He hasn't spent a lot of his money, but he's still really fed.
And this is the exact kind of fight that Alawi wants. The tentacle setup is beautiful on their side. If they could get a big ultimate off, I think that TD Syndicate are just going to clean house.
Cage's
Already
out on
jump
the jump
split
sweep.
for the rest of the team.
Bomba!
Spear going down on the Annie. They're going to be in tentacle time. And unfortunately, Jarvan is just going to jump in with zero backup as our Helium Bamboo finds the angle to fire off a solar flare down onto Jigbean and company. Karma Legend just has to rush up the river and watch their ADC die. And TD Syndicate are going to get 3 for nothing.
Yeah, it looked like Rennick was trying to go in there, just didn't have any follow-up from his team. The Veigar Cage came out to disengage, and then there was the explosive cast to separate the team, and Rennick just got exploded by all of TD Syndicate. Yes, Alawi didn't hit anything with her R, but it doesn't matter when everybody died.
Can you explain to me why Zax Gaming has 2 control wards?
No.
Yeah, okay.
I can't.
I was just making sure it wasn't just me. Interesting call there, given that the Alawi needs every bit of gold possible to really answer back against Aeon. But that fight was a good step forward, you know? And now they're going to be able to rotate right back over to the Dragon, which, you know, is the
Rennick's
very
here,
least that they could do.
and the Dragon is up. And
All
TD
right.
Syndicate has Dragon control.
Just kill
which
the
means
Jarvan
that
guys.
TE is going to get the Dragon.
It's like we said last game. You're at the point where you have Alawi so fed that you could probably just send them behind.
They're not making the same
Dragon
mistake
Pit,
again.
Right? Double stun.
I don't know if you
Huge
want that.
attack. Big push by Lemon Sap and company, and now the solar flare is going to be enough to lock up that pesky Rennick.
Yeah, Karma, that wasn't a hook you wanted there. They pull in Zax Gaming, and following up on that cage and the explosive cask, just jumps up with a leap of faith and just smacks down on the support jungle of TE Aeon.
I said it before the broadcast, man. I'm going to say it again here, Bickle. I was not drunk enough for this. That was actually a very clean fight, but at this point, it's like a drug, right? Like, I've had so many psychotic plays thrown in my face.
I need more.
I built up, like, resilience to anything that is even slightly well played by either team. Glizzy Goblin.
Bye, Glizzy.
I don't really know why they didn't just walk through the wall. They have their passive available. Do they not know that they won't get stunned up? Because they're probably just going to die or close to it. I think the Lantern gets them out, but now mid lane we got some trouble. Helium Bamboo just taken out by Jigbean, and there's no answer back. They were too preoccupied trying to kill the Spirit, and I think that Zax Gaming may have just baited.
Rennick's going in.
Rennick
on to Zax.
Forward, tries to
Shut
get
down.
out into the fold, but that's the terrifying scenario to be in when they have R up. Finally, Jigbean gets the shutdown, but Rennick will die for it.
Jigbean has so much money now, gets a big shutdown on the Alawi, working towards that Gwinsu's Rage Blade. Exactly what you like to see. He really will have to be the carry of this team. Rennick did go for Divine Sunderer for a bit more damage, but at 1-6, he's still going to explode like it's nothing.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of how the Jarvan is building here, especially given the fact that Mundo cannot do solo team.
Oh my!
Wow.
Where
Big
did
twist
Junk
past there.
Sleep go?
Back to the base, apparently.
He just exploded.
Yeah. I mean, it is called Explosive Cask for a reason.
It very much wasn't. But yeah, Jigbean, solid scenario to be in. Got that shutdown on Zax, got an extra kill onto Helium Bamboo, and he will need to be the carry. It's just about, can they keep him alive considering all the damage there is? Lemon Sap just finished that death cap, and on top of that, has a lot of stacks, 200 stacks on the Phenomenal Evil Power. So much AP being built up. You have the AP Gragas that can throw a barrel at you and do about half your HP. And a death sentence lands again onto Narwhal. I think Karma Legend's just throwing them out for fun now.
I mean, Karma Legend is just such a bright spot for this team.
Karma Legend needs to change their name to Thresh Legend.
I think that they just need to get MVP votes already set up for themselves this early on in the season. Sure, their team might not be walking away with a dub here, but my God, this Thresh is so impressive. And if anyone is watching the VOD right now as scouting against TE Aeon in the future, for the love of God, ban this champion. This is not allowable at the IBS level.
Step 1, ban Thresh.
Ban Thresh. No, literally, I was like casting the NACL qualifiers for Maryville earlier on in the last weekend, right? And I literally the discussion was first thing to do against Maryville, ban the odd ones and Lee Sin, and maybe then you have a chance. Reddit completely caught out here. This is just going to be a quick cleanup off the back of the Veigar ultimate. Karma Legend finally going to push into the river, and big chain CC from Jigbean will get a humongous shutdown over
Narwhal.
the But Verinda is just suffocating
He's
them
alive.
with their fault, while Vampiric Narwhal is taken down. Zack is here to make a statement and clean house. A double for the Alawi. And Glizzy Gobbler, being the last one left alive, basically means it's an ace.
Go, Glizzy, go!
Go, Glizzy, go! Oh, man.
Oh.
You know, at this point, I'm just hoping that Glizzy Gobbler hits 100 CS before the game ends. That's the goal here.
He's got it. He will. But yeah, Zax is a monster right now. 2 items completed, 7, 1, and 4. Narwhal was going for a little bit of space gliding there with the rat. Doesn't work out as he gets tagged again by Karma Legend, who I think is just making it his mission to make sure Narwhal doesn't have fun playing the rat.
Oh, man. The tragedy. Not being able to auto space glide and piss low, man.
Karma the Legend now throwing out these hooks blind, seeing if he can hit anything. And honestly, even if he does, you don't expect any follow-up. He's just throwing out like, oh, can I get anything? Oh, look, a Twitch.
Gone fishing. Come back with the rat. I mean... There's no dragon to fight over just yet. It's coming up in about 10 seconds, but you know, Aeon behind the pit already basically there to contest perfectly. Still very much still on the table at this point in time, but now, can they actually just set up for a raw fight? I mean, Jigbean is insanely strong, has the full health bar to play with, and Karma Legend by their side. Yeah,
it's all about Jigbean here. He is the man with the damage. Big CC available out of Junk Sleep for the Tenebrous, but that's Zach's
the Shade as well. Gonna hit down on 11 tap. Junk Sleep gonna pick that one up.
Jigbean going in.
Dropped alongside multiple members of TD Syndicate. Jigbean gonna clean up. Vampiric Narwhal cannot stand up to 2 gaze in a darkened body. And there goes Verinda as well to secure a triple kill and a full-on ace for Aeon.
That is the hero that the side of Tenebrous Esports need. Jigbean coming up clutch on the Varus, the lockdown out of the Chains of Corruption to follow up on a great lockdown out of Karma Legend. Junk Sleep there with even more CC out of the Tibbers, and the side of TD Syndicate just explodes. Lemon Sap got picked early and they tried to use the explosive cask to reset the fight and disengage, but the solo laners got caught in the end and blown up by Jigbean, who was then able to just flash in and free hit without any risk of his life, and he was able to take down and take over that fight to give Tenebrous Esports the fight win and put them onto Soul Point.
And honestly, TD Syndicate, I think, are getting punished for their pretty random itemization on their side. I was starting a thought about Verinda going full AP Gragas earlier on, and I think I was interrupted by Karma Legend's hook at some point in time out of the many that they've hit.
Which
but what
one?
I was going to say is they really need to be able to frontline here, right? There's no way for TD Syndicate to approach these fights that isn't really every man for themselves, and because of that, the Red Sea parts, and it was Lemon Sap who's getting hit. This is your carry. This is the character you need to keep alive during team fights, because Vampiric Narwhal just isn't fed enough at this point in time to really pop off and answer back against Jigbean's damage. So if Verinda eats a death sentence, if Zax Gaming actually starts building tanky as well, that's something to watch out for. But across the board, they're just kind of AFK on that itemization front, and that's making it a bit more awkward for TD Syndicate, even with a gold lead on their side.
Yeah, nobody from Syndicate can really eat the engage. Even Helium Bamboo went for a Shirelia's on Leona.
Yeah, not sure about that one.
Like, you're not going to get any value out of the heal shield power. You don't really need the mana regen. Like, you get an active that makes you run faster. If you want to run faster, just build a chem tank.
If you want to run faster, do it against a team that doesn't have one of the best threshers
Hook!
I've seen in a while, who just can lock you down forever. That being said, ultimate used on the wrong person, in my opinion, by Jake.
He's down!
That being said, Lemon Sap is still dead, and while the Twitch tries to pop the spray,
Zax is alive!
Up, Junk Sleep is also beginning
Hooked!
to just pump and dump damage, as Karma Legend is eventually taken down by the Alawi, but still...
Glizzy gets
Aeon
revenge!
is going to be able to clean house. Farinda walks out the surviving member of Red Squad, but that's not going to be enough to stop the TE onslaught.
Glizzy Gobbler in the end gets the revenge, gets the kill onto Zax Gaming, taking him down. And once again, it's Karma Legend starting off the fight with a hook. And as you mentioned, they burn some ults and blow up some big targets. Lemon is out of the fight pretty early, doesn't get to use the Primordial Burst to finish enemy off, which means Jigbean's around a lot longer and is able to put out some damage, meaning that in the end, it's a 4-for-3 going over to Tenebrous Esports. They're winning these fights.
Yep. And that is a really, really good sign for them, given the fact that they need to win this 5v5 around this final dragon. Hopefully they can just pick up a soul here and from their rally to win the game. I think an ace, actually, given the fact that we're hitting about the 30-minute mark, when that dragon comes up, will be enough for them to not only get soul, but a Baron as well, and they will be able to put this away in their favor.
And ask and you shall receive. We're getting some good things coming out, and things are going really well. AP items, yes, but we finally have some armor, which is nice to see. But also, congrats, Glizzy. He hit your win condition. He's got 100 CS.
Ooh, baby, 110 CS. Actually, just above the mark that I was thinking at, the 28-minute mark. I mean, we aren't at the point where the Mundo is at all useful. That is just the unfortunate fact of it. They're able to provide maybe a small amount of presence in fights with their Heartsteel stacks, but there's still a situation where Jigbean is very much the straight-up carry, and the extent to which anyone else on their team can peel for them, the better it is for Aeon to actually guarantee themselves a win.
Yeah, and we're in an unfortunate situation, as you mentioned. Glizzy Gobbler, less gold than his support, almost less gold than Helium Bamboo. 7.7k to his name, as opposed to the 12.4k of Zax Gaming. But most gold in the game right now is on Jigbean. 14k to the 10k of Vampiric Narwhal. This Varus is absolutely the champion that needs to be the carry for the side of Tenebrous Esports. And really, Glizzy just needs to be a frontline for the side. But I don't know if he can 1v1 Zax like this. He can't.
Yeah, I don't think this was an intentional 1v1. I mean, Zax Gaming kind of...
He's got Ghost!
Flash here, and actually...
Why are you trying to fight this, Glizzy?
Yeah,
I don't know if you win this, buddy.
I don't think it's about winning, though. This is the thing, right? They got Flash out of Alawi. That's a dub in my book.
It is, but I think he could have taken the Flash and then left.
All right, well, you know, TE Aeon still going to use that distraction to try to push down.
TPing in.
I'm not sure about this TP from Malawi. I think that they had to go for the reset first. Dragon is up,
yeah,
though.
They're really chunked low.
I mean, that's a target.
They do get some
fruit,
fruit, which is nice, but they have 1.5k to spend still.
Yep. It's just a weird call by Zax Gaming here. That could actually do...
Do they pull it out?
I mean, are they going to pull it out? It's actually going to be taken by them this time around.
Early, but
engage. Zax Gaming already taken down. That was the concern that we had, and now I think that
Cataclysm!
Aeon can just clean house. Big Cataclysm there for Reddit to get them the double, and another beautiful hook across the wall. Karma Legend gonna grab Lemon Sap. Varinda, the last one left alive, but they will not be able to stop the take of the Baron.
So if we go to game number 3, is Thresh ban number 1, 2, or 3 for the side of TD Syndicate?
I just hope it's number 1, because I'm afraid that they may forget by the time it gets to ban 2 or 3. And my God, you need to get this champion out of the game.
Yeah, Karma Legend is absolutely godlike this game. Just been dominant. Landing these hooks like it's absolutely nothing. Getting Jigbean ahead. And Jigbean, with this lead, has been able to pump out the damage. And is really the cannon another hook, making sure there is no steal. Just, yeah, why not? Just why not? Just feeling himself. Karma Legend is just a legend.
How do you guys live like this? like this is a 31-minute game, man. Like any other series would be over at this point. It feels like.
Injected into my veins.
Oh my god. Like they just can't end at the same time. This is, I think, the first Baron taken in the game.
It is. It's Baron number
oh,
1
man.
of game number 2. Reminder, we had 4 Barons in game number 1.
I think we had 3 Barons. I think we were joking
Right,
about a 4th
we had
Baron.
3 Barons and 7 Dragons.
Oh man. Yeah. The agony of IBS teams not being able to end is truly something that keeps me up at night.
The scaling is there for the side of TD Syndicate if they can hold on, but Jigbean is just so hard to deal with. They're going to need to find a way to get Lemon Sap and Verinda to just get on top of him and blow him up. And that is a TP to respond to Zax, but it's interrupted.
Big solar flare being dropped there from Helium Bamboo. And I honestly do want to give credit over to the support of TD Syndicate. They've been playing exceptionally well. It's just
Oh no,
a little bit
Glizzy.
overshadowed
Oh no,
because of
Glizzy.
how flashy Karma Legend is.
Run, Glizzy!
You know, Zax Gaming actually kind of stuck in a 1v1 situation that's going a little bit more favorably for the Mundo than I expected. Mostly because there's a tower there, but we don't talk about that.
Oh, the tower's not there anymore. Zax Gaming doing his job, side laning like it's nobody's business, and making sure that at least somebody on the side of Tenebrous Esports has to respond. And that's exactly what Glizzy is doing. He's just making sure that there's no free push coming in for the side of TD Syndicate.
Verinda kind of griefing an explosive cast. They won't have that available, nor do they have a lot of mana. And so that Death Sentence on the Helium Bamboo goes pretty much unanswered. And now Chains has landed down on top of the Vagar. Karma Legend with
another one!
Brilliant hook. They're going to ride that in. Get the 3-man play. And now Aeon are able to walk all over TD.
That's it.
What a beautiful showing.
That's it.
A full-on carry from the Thresh. And that's going to be the end of the game as Glizzy Gobbler once again fulfilling their purpose, distracting Zax Gaming, delaying the back, and taking us to game number 3.
Karma Legend goes in and dies a hero, hitting the hook to win the game and bring us to game number 3. What a performance by Tenebrous Esports support. Karma Legend living up to the legend in their name.
That does it. Bickle, this is the most unhinged, the most insane series I've ever casted so far. And it's only 3 games long. I've casted best of 5s with less bizarre things in it than this.
Thresh almost out-damaged the Vagar. Thresh did 13k damage. Vagar did 15k. Thresh out-damaged his top and jungle.
Yeah, I mean, good, let's be real. If TE Aeon walk away with a dub here, everybody on that team needs to buy a drink for Karma Legend. Or
I am right there with
so
you.
Soberly, they probably don't drink at all, right? So they gotta buy them cake, they gotta buy them something. This is probably one of the most insane centralizing carry performances on a support I've seen in a while.
This is something you do not see in IBS. You do not see carry performances like that on a support. That is phenomenal play by Karma Legend. And if they can do that again in game 3, they are absolutely setting their team up for success.
All right, well, TE Aeon and TD Syndicate have split the series so far, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. These two continuing to make cases that they're top competitors here in the BOL. We're going to throw it to a quick break, but when we return, it's going to be for the 3rd and final draft of the night.
We go, carry on. Oh, this road goes on forever. this dark sky and show me now what I'm missing. The fireworks that I feel inside when you're right by my side. The atmosphere, it comes alive. It's just us tonight. It's just us tonight. It's the universe calling us. It's just us tonight. It's the universe calling us. Stay strong, find hope. Don't you know there's always a reason, Heart breaks, moments away. I can show you there's a meaning of dreaming. The fireworks that I feel inside when you're right by my side. The atmosphere, it comes alive. It's just us tonight. It's just us tonight. It's the universe calling us. It's just us tonight. It's the universe calling us. Calling.
It's the Blue Otter League IBS division, and we are here with week number 2 in game number 3 between TD Syndicate and TE Aeon. What a time it has been, and it will continue to be a time for sure as we now move into the third and final draft of the night. Bickle, at this point, I refuse to believe I will be shocked by anything that comes our way, but
You say
I've
that
been proven
now,
wrong time and time again.
but how about the fact that TD Syndicate has gone through all of their bans and nothing's changed? Which there
we go.
Forget what. Never mind. Cut the tape. Yeah, they finally decide Thresh was a problem. Let's not deal with that again.
Just a little bit of a problem. They're back on blue side, so they could actually just steal away the Varus that really became the carry for TE Aeon side. Although, once again, we continue to have to put an asterisk by the performance of anyone on Red Squad side, given the fact that Karma Legend enabled all of them to pop off. Yeah, there is the Varus hover that I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Jigbean played phenomenal that game, but he was enabled so much by Karma Legend. It'll be interesting to see what the duo decides to go for this game. We do see Vampiric Narwhal taking that Varus. Didn't necessarily find the success he was hoping for on the Twitch. So back to the poke, back to the long range. Aeon, though, running back the J4 that they found success with. No! Tell me that's mid or 80 carry.
I mean, they are getting Reddick back onto the Jarvan, which I think is a really good call. Once again, it's a matter of putting an asterisk by their performance because of Karma Legend, but they, I think, did a very good job of facilitating big plays for the likes of Jigbean. The issue is Karma Legend is back on Seraphine, who apparently is just too easy. And as I said before, it causes like gears to clash in their head because they had such a lesser ability to hit skill shots on this versus the Thresh that is now banned away from them.
Yeah, taking that away. Instead, Syndicate's going to respond with the Janna. Good disengage for any engage coming in out of Rennick or anybody else that may be picked up for the side of Tenebrous Esports. But very interesting, something we don't see as often. Just playing a very safe bot lane, meaning that it's got to be on the solo laners, and in this case also the jungler, as Verinda once again going back to the Kayn well.
They had a really good game on the Gragas. A few missed explosive casts notwithstanding, I believe that was just a better pick than the Kayn. The main issue that I had with the way that they played was their itemization. They went for full AP Gragas there in the jungle when you already had a huge source of AP in Lemon Sap's Veigar. You just needed to be able to frontline for your team and actually absorb some of the pressure the Karma Legend was putting out. But now you're playing a champion that just sticks in walls for most of the fight and will not be much of an obstacle whatsoever for Aeon to get down on some of these squishies. Hopefully Janna will be doing enough because I'm a little bit disappointed to see this come back out.
Yeah, it's a really disengaged focused pick. Meanwhile, Tenebrous Esports going a bit more aggro, going with the boss himself set here to play. Flexible to multiple lanes, but if I had to guess, my guess is we're going to see Glizzy Gobbler on that set. Has been banned away twice before in the second round. But this time, taken early enough that they don't have to worry about that.
I'm really hoping that it's actually set support because given what we've been seeing top lane at this point, Pickle, Glizzy Gobbler needs to like be put onto a Malphite analog to have any chance of impacting this game.
Please give me a Karma Legend set.
I don't like to just read into individual players and their ability, but we've gotten 2 games back-to-back where Zax Gaming not only dominated this lane, but literally made Glizzy Gobbler barely a champion. So the fact that they're now on someone who really profits from kills and tries to play aggressively just doesn't sit right with me. I think that they're probably just going to get run over.
Yeah, it could possibly be that way if that's the direction they head. This is obviously still flexible. Could be heading top, could be heading mid, could be heading support. Hell, there was even a chance we get a jump. Probably not, but it's still there. I'm guessing we see an 80 carry here to leave flexibility still out and about for the side of Tenebrous Esports. But we'll have to wait and see exactly what their plan is. We do see the Morgana and Tristana banned away by TD Syndicate to the double mid lane focus of the Victor and Veigar of Tenebrous Esports. And it's
kind of odd bans from TD
there's the 80 carry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a good read that it's on Seraphine bot, so restricting that 80 carry pool is pretty nice, and it double dips into also banning out Tristana mid. But leaving stuff up like the Misfortune and low elo is always a struggle. This champion has just so much value, regardless of how far behind they fall. They're able to control space very nicely. But TD Syndicate on the other side also getting some smart picks over to them. If they want to hover this Swain, I'm all for the Swangle.
Yeah, another Lemon Sap pick. Comfort is key here. Swain coming in. Demonic Ascension, such a strong ultimate. Ever since they made it where you could have it continually and have it never run out, he's been a bit of a strong pick in the mid lane.
All right, and there is also some flex potential top side of the map. The Ornn making it a lot less flexy. Like, guys, just go back to another carry top, honestly. Like, I know that Ornn can actually do a surprising amount of damage, and I actually saw the Set Ornn matchup recently where the Ornn got solo kills versus the Set, but I think that you just need to obliterate this freaking lane. Like, you know that this is the weak point for Aeon, so why are you respecting the Set pick at all?
Exactly. You saw the fact that Zax, on his picks, on the Cho'Gath and on that Alawi, was able to absolutely dominate lane. So your answer to that is put Zax on a tank that's not focused on lane? That just doesn't make sense to me. It feels like you should be trying to play around what Zax is capable of, the advantages he can bring. But Ornn instead, more focused on getting to those late game scaling Ornn items, getting the upgrades available for his team, great engage, great damage necessarily, just provides a lot to the team as opposed to being an individual focus. Whereas Tenebrous Esports going with the Vex as their final pick mid for Junction. So it seems like we are going to see Glizzy Gobbler on that set and the Seraphine heading down to Karma Legend.
A lot of vexing picks on both sides here, Bickle. I think that we're seeing decent drafts from both teams, but neither of them feel particularly responsive to the context we've been given in the prior two games, right? Seraphine, clearly not the champion that we have Karma Legend most comfortable on. They massively underperformed in game number one, and that could be the case here again. Meanwhile, while Zax Gaming was a shining bright spot in 2 games running, they have been relegated to full-on low prio tank duty. And while Verinda has never really been strong siding them, I really wish that we saw a more solo lane oriented champion that could really just kind of dominate and box out Aeon's top side of the map. You're giving them another lease on life here, and I think that overall I'm a little bit concerned that this is the angle that Syndicate wants to go for. Aeon similarly also I think have their own growing pains with this composition, but the Vex and the Misfortune I think are very, very stable picks, and it's a little bit less gamble oriented than what we're seeing out of this Kane selection there and the jungle role for TD.
It really is. And J4 does provide good gang potential for Aeon. Good setup all around the map. They're once again going to be looking to play around this ultimate combo with Jigbean and Karma Legend of the bullet time on top of the Encore. If they can lock anybody down in that or the Cataclysm, they're setting themselves up nicely for a kill. But the last time they had a press R combo with the Curse of the Sad Mummy and the Encore, it didn't go too well for them. So let's hope they've learned from that lesson and have improved in this brief period of time, because we know what Karma Legend is capable of. We've seen what they're able to do. We've seen Jigbean play really well when ahead. And it's really on them to pilot these champions. I'm hoping that Glizzy Gobbler has a better performance on the set. Maybe it's just something about the matchup against Amundo and he's weak side, so he's going with something else. But I don't know. I'm really curious to see how this plays out. I think Glizzy needs to step up into Zax as this set into Ornn if they're going to be able to capitalize on the draft that TD Syndicate has taken.
Hey, Bickle, I mean, it could just be a redemption arc. We've seen crazier things a la 3 freaking individual Dragon Steals coming through for TE Aeon, right? So this indicates to me that miracles can happen. Big turnarounds are on the table, and both of these teams have a very good claim to fame moving on to this game number 3. We're going to throw to a quick break here in just a few moments. Unfortunately, I really got to run to the bathroom. The Blue Otter League IBS division is giving me IBS myself, so I will see you guys shortly.
I can feel it rising. I can feel the wind on the back of my neck, chasing the horizon. Sun is going down, we ain't headed home yet. I can feel it building. Pressure so high, it'll never come down. Feeling like a billion. Head up in the sky, I've been losing the ground. Give me that. Give me that. I can feel it.
Welcome back, friends, to the BOL IBSD, the Blue Water League IBS division, where we have TDS versus TEA. It's acronym City here for game number 3. And it has been such an exciting time as Syndicate and Aeon have been neck and neck for so long. And we're seeing new sides to these teams, as these are very different drafts than what have come before.
They really are, and something interesting of note here. Zax Gaming, despite being on the Ornn, going for Conqueror.
That is certainly a call. Could also just be the case that they fumbled their runes in setup, but I don't
You'd
imagine
have
that to be the case.
fumble. Maybe they didn't get the save from their Alawi game.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think, did Alawi go Conqueror as well?
Alawi went Conk, yes.
Okay, so it could be the case that they're on Alawi runes right now, which might be a bit awkward on the Ornn, but hey, we did want them to posture pretty aggressively. Could be the case that this is a blessing in disguise, you know?
Yeah, true. Karma Legend also opting for a bit of a change from game number 1 with their Seraphine, going for the Electrocute this time instead of the Summonary.
You know, I don't actually know if this is Alawi runes. It doesn't look like they're taking anything on their secondary, like, Demolish. They're going for full-on, like, stand there and fight style of runes, so it could be the case that they're just trying to bait Glizzy Gobbler into some big plays.
I'd be really surprised if we saw an Ornn go Revitalize with his no heal and shield. So my guess is that was just the Alawi runes. That's got to be what it is, but yeah.
They didn't go Demolish on Alawi, though? What's that all about?
Maybe, I don't know. But instead, Zach's just trading topside with Glizzy and smacking each other in the face.
Yeah, I think Ornn actually comes out the favorite level 1.
He absolutely
a lot of poke on the way
does.
back out as well. So Glizzy Gobbler, once again, starting off this lane on the wrong foot to a degree. Less than half health, unfortunately. Struggling a bit with the Dorn's shield. Already has their health pot popped. Although, the same can be said back for the Ornn.
Really can. And really, just this annoyance that is Janna throwing out her tornadoes, trying to knock you up from no vision. A while back, Riot decided to make them move at about Mach speed, so now they're a bit harder to dodge.
Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about the change as a whole. I think every time that they touch Janna, they make her less fun to play. Pay respect back towards Smite Janna. Smite Janna top was the single most fun meta I've ever had playing League of Legends. And
that was toxic as all hell, and I absolutely loved it.
Man, yeah, it was like so funny because you know how like at the end of the season they have like that screen that shows like your champion with the highest win rate and stuff. Yeah, It was Janna. I never played Janna support. I only ever played Smite Janna top.
Oof. But right now, taking a look at how things are going, firing coming out just about everywhere. And for all you people that love skins, take a look at Jigbean rocking the newest Misfortune skin that just came out, looking pretty good.
Oh yeah, None with Gun Misfortune. Is that the Prestige version? I didn't get to see.
I think that is the Prestige version.
I think that is, yeah.
Oh, that's a nice skin.
It's pretty excessive, you know. I don't think that most None habits are that.
It's a Prestige skin. It's meant to be excessive.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a very pretty skin. I'm kind of glad that just in general, prestige skins are looking better and better nowadays. That prestige Ocean Song Seraphine is a freaking masterclass of design.
You mean you
And
didn't like back when prestige skins were literally you're just a
white
gold chroma?
Yeah, basically. We have some action now mid lane in the 2v2. Verinda just has to flash back out. Didn't get enough damage down onto Junk Sleep to actually push that play forward. As now Jigbean just has to flash back away from Vampiric Narwhal and Helium Bamboo. So big clashes, but no kills pulled out yet by either team.
Summoners everywhere. We're gonna flash off Verinda, a flash off Jigbean, a heal off Jigbean. Everybody trying to do their best to heal up. Glizzy Gobbler just trying to get these autos to trade now. Has been feeling a bit better in this lane as opposed to when he was on Dr. Mundo. But Conqueror is stacked for the Horde.
I shocking, you know what I mean, Bickle? Like it's almost like Zax didn't give a free lane in those prior games, and now they're on an Ornn. So who's to say, right? Who's to say?
Really is hard to say, but Zach's getting chunked for the first time this series.
Oh my god, they're pushed into tower. They actually have to farm under the turret shots. Can you believe it, Bickle?
It's certainly something. And it is definitely a different look for the side of TD Syndicate, opting to put Zax on this weak side tank while they play around this jungle mid of Verinda Lemon.
I mean, maybe it is the case that this is all just a big bait, right? Zax is doing a good job trading back, don't get us wrong. They are coming out with a small health deficit, but still, Glizzy Gobbler is now perma pushed in. This could be the angle necessary for Verinda to now start free farming Glizzy Gobbler alongside the Ornn.
Yeah, and Glizzy's who Verinda wants to be farming, as that does get her closer to that Red King, to Rust, that major transformation. That is so important. And speaking of Verinda, here she is.
They're going to be here. No flash available, so they're really just looking for the W. And while it does slow up the set a little bit, this is a lot of time spent into the lane for not getting anything back. And in my opinion, this is a bad call by TD Syndicate, because now Aeon, they're going to cross map. Rennick already starting up on that dragon.
Junk Sleep is here.
Why the hell is Glizzy Gobbler walking up this far, though? Junk Sleep needs to get there in time. Eventually, we'll be able to fire off the kill, but now Glizzy Gobbler's traded back. The thing is, Vex is angling to go for the double kill.
Catches it with the ulti!
Not able to sidestep the way of that ult, and I spoke too soon. Impressive stuff there. Gobbler does die, but they do a massive bait for Junk Sleep to get a double-double.
Yeah, Glizzy steps a bit up, says, hey, come fight me, guys. Look at me. I'm just a weak old set of my own. I've made mistakes in the past, so this is totally another one. But instead, baits it in as Junk Sleep comes in to clean up the double. Well played by the solo lanes of TE Aeon.
I still will stand by my criticism. I think Glizzy Gobbler, especially given the fact that they had flash up, overstayed. They probably could have gotten out, and Junk Sleep could have just handed off the aggro by ulting in, and once the CC comes back through, Glizzy Gobbler can look for the engage, right? Given that situation, I do think that this was still a little bit too much gold back over to TDS, but the cross map does mean that TE Aeon is confidently ahead right now. Not only do they get those 2 kills top, but they also get Dragon.
Oh, and look who's back topside. Verinda's not happy.
Back again. Glizzy Gobbler also just hit by the Call of the Forge God. They're going low. Decides to burn the flash there. Falls under the tower. And I guess it could go back onto the Glizzy Gobbler flame train without a whole lot of criticism being thrown my way. There was no reason to use that summoner spell there. I'm sorry for being constantly negative, but Aeon needs to shape up this top laner.
In the end, flash for flash traded among the top sides. He blows flash to make Zax blow flash. So if there's a gank up top side later, I can understand it. But yeah, it's not going to save your life there. Zax up in gold and farm right now alongside XP in a good position to be in. Glizzy not having the best time still, even though he was able to set up his mid laner for 2 good kills early on.
Credit is to be had, though. Syndicate has to reposition Verinda a lot more towards that top side for them to try to push back against the set. And this champion, I think, is one that even when behind can play relatively independently when there's just not a whole lot of kill pressure from Zax Gaming, as long as they control waves well. And so because that is the case, Aeon are coming out pretty balanced into this mid laning phase, and I think that as long as they aren't bleeding a ton more gold over to Syndicate off of continual gains from Verinda, once again, Glizzy Gobbler, they're going to be doing enough to sustain through this early game and still be a thorn in the side of TDS.
Exactly. Glizzy's job here is to be an annoyance, is to be a pest, and he's doing that well. He drew the attention of Verinda. He's making Zack spend a lot of time up here, and he's trusting his four-man to do the rest of the work. He saw what his four-man could do. Oh, just a bit early on the showstopper, thanks to the Bellows breath.
Yeah, really good W there from Zax Gaming to stay alive. One thing that also worries me is the fact that Glizzy Gobbler is 0-2 and building towards Bork. That is not the right call, in my opinion. As now bot side, we got to focus in on the fact that Jigbean is getting run down by Verinda and company. Big tornado there from Helium Bamboo to start that play off. Karma Legend going to walk forward to peel for this champion. And actually, because they stand there, Verinda gets baited.
Barely lives.
And they get hit by the bullet time. They have to flash out.
The arrow!
Ooh, spicy, spicy. Vampiric Narwhal gonna respect the encore and just flash away as now Junk Sleep is rotating in. Could be a scary situation, but Jigbean has been taken out. So now it becomes a matter of Aeon trying to clean up this play, but 3 members of TD Syndicate stand strong in the bot side.
Vampiric Narwhal making great use of the Blighted Quiver activation to get that percent health damage. With the fact that he's lower, gets more damage done, and because of that, is able to land the piercing arrow onto Jigbean just to pop him and take him out. Of course, he is opting into the poke lethality. Varus has the Dirk alongside the Caulfields, along with that tier, so going to be really going hard on this poke style.
And also credit to Rennick there in the mid lane, getting flash ult out of Lemon Sap without Junk Sleep even being in the lane there. The Jarvan putting a lot of pressure down onto the Swain, and this is big because we are approaching that crucial minute or so before this next dragon comes up, and that's a lot of tools now denied from the mid laner of TDS.
You gotta imagine Rennick's gonna be looking to show back up mid and punish the fact that they were able to blow sums off of Lemon Sap. Hopefully before that ultimate comes back up, is that's his big survivability tool. If they can get a pick on him, that sets them up really nicely for Dragon. But instead, it looks like everybody's just heading down towards this first Dragon. Second Dragon, actually.
A lot of resources probably going to be sent there by both teams. Given how even the gold is, I think that either side can contest the one or the other, given the tools that are available. A lot more summoner spells on Red Squad side, though, for sure. And Rennick having the initiation tool of the Cataclysm will make it a little bit tougher for TDS to be the first ones to really push down and try to get this neutral objective. I think they're going to be
That's a
looking
deep
for
herald.
a pick for a lot more of an angle down onto this fight near the tri-bush. Big bullet time, but it's completely canceled.
The Encore's not up. The Encore's not up.
Just Lemon slap this bot side. Aeon lose 2, and I said they needed a pick. I didn't expect 2 of them to just freely go over to TD Syndicate, and that means this is a pretty quick drag to split the stacking.
Karma Legend was about 3 seconds away from having that Encore when the fight broke out. If that had been slightly later, that would have been massive, as there would have been that big charm into the bullet time. Instead, 2 members fall as Junk Sleep and Jigbean are just taken out, and a free dragon is given to TD Syndicate.
Impressive showing for sure from TD Syndicate, steamrolling ahead in this early game now. 5-2 is the kill line. They're up about 1,000 gold, but given the snowball potential of these champions and the fact that Lemon Sap has a lot of gold concentrated onto them, I can see a real tough time for TE Aeon going forward unless they are really smart in how they play their cards. As Zax Gaming, once again, just trying to go for the big trades up against Glizzy Gobbler. Ult is going to try
the ult misses!
Away from the Call of the Forge God, but it doesn't matter. He's just going to headbutt it the opposite direction. But the set is going exceptionally low. They're probably just going to have to flash out here.
Out of the knockup.
Respecting Zax Gaming, and this Bork is looking.
Junk Sleep's coming.
They are going to hit the Ornn. They're going to ride it over the wall. This champion's so tanky. He still flashes behind the tier 1.
Barely lives in the end. Sliver of HP manages to draw. Meanwhile, mid lane, Lemon's caught in a Cataclysm. It doesn't really care because he has the ult.
Yeah, when you have Demonic Ascension up, it's probably more of a buff for Swain. It's like, oh, a free CC spell that keeps everybody getting drained by me. Sounds like a plan, Jarvan, and therefore, Rennick is the one that really has to respect this champion in the mid lane.
It's just like Cataclysm last game with the Alawi. It's like, oh, you're stuck in here with my tentacles. I'm just gonna ulti and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yep. All right. Well, TD Syndicate, once again, still have the game in their grasp right now. They have kind of lost the peak of their 1,000 gold lead, just based off the fact that TE Aeon are happily bouncing back, grabbing a lot of gold just from farming. And as we do see Vampiric Narwhal fire off a ultimate into dead air, I think that's going to be a few tools less for TD Syndicate to really try to leverage a big fight coming shortly, as Shelly is spawning up in about a minute.
And something to note, Kane has form, did unfortunately get more Shadow Assassin orbs, so 2 minutes away at the moment from that Darken.
I think it is a smart call that they are going for the Darken form, though.
Oh,
That is
absolutely.
very much necessary for TD Syndicate to have another front line that is just going to be there a little bit more often than Zax Gaming is, prior to the Ornn really getting freed up from this top side of the map, where, honestly, they're very comfortable being alone. Glizzy
They're just
Gobbler
hitting each
doesn't
other
have a
here
lot of
top
kill
side.
pressure. I mean, Zax Gaming,
The ulti's
this
here.
time, I think they go for
Showstopper.
another big play. Redick
was it
across the
W?
wall, but they can't find the angle down in time to save the set. That's a solo bolo for the
Rennick's
Ornn.
here.
But I do think that Rennick will clean this one up off that flag and drag headbutt to try to get away, but now they got no tools to get out of the Cataclysm. They're just going to try to auto this guy down, but unfortunately they can't do that on just a sliver of health.
Rennick realized that Divine Sunderer was not the call last game, instead opting into Electrocute with Eclipse. He's going burst lethality Jarvan.
And I don't mean to keep flaming Glizzy Gobbler, but like, come on, man. Why are you building Bork if you don't have Jarvan frontline in this game?
Yeah, it feels like one of them really needed to head in a tankier direction. If you're gonna have the Eclipse Jarvan, you need a beefier set. If you got a Bork set, you're gonna need a beefy Jarvan.
And the fact that both of them are just going to go for full burst is a little bit concerning, given that Helium Bamboo is going to be doing a ton to disengage initial pushes forward. And Verinda is going to get a lot of space to pop off on this Kane, as now we see Junksleep getting massively picked in this overextension in River. Lemon Sap just going to grab another one, and this Swain is becoming a real terror.
Yeah, and right now, Swain in a really solid position. Herald is drop mid, going to get that charge off, which does set up nicely, get themselves a tower as well. So 2 towers so far going over to the side of Tenebrous Esports. And something to note, despite us giving a bit of a hard time to Glizzy Gobbler, he did get first tower topside. He has been really doing well in his laning. He's had a much easier time than he had in the past. Yes, he is dying to these solo kills a bit, which isn't nice to see, but he does have help coming up. And he's able to beat Zaxin, who has kind of been one of the big strong sides of TD Syndicate. So he's neutralizing a really strong point. Yes, Draft did that a little bit with the fact that he's on Ornn, but Glizzy's finding some decent success with the Cest this time.
Vickle, he's down 40 CS.
He's going to be down 40 CS no matter what he plays.
All right, I mean, Zax Gaming could, in fact, be beating their maker here, though. Glizzy Gobbler getting a big ult to interrupt the call of the Forge God, but unfortunately, they just cannot push through enough damage to take down the Ornn with that Jack Show available. And so, top side of the map, Blue Squad is going to have their tank live. Teleport not up, though, for either of these champions, so it looks like we're just going to have
Lemon's
a
caught
for bot side, as Lemon Sap is completely caught out, has to flash out of the bullet time, already being taken low. We'll just have to cower under that tower as Helium Bamboo walks way too far forward there, activates their ultimate, but they don't understand the interaction with Junk Sleeps are. They're just gonna ride that one in through the Monsoon, pick that one up, make it a double kill for the Vex, as now Verinda is too deep. It's a 4-0 virtual ace. TE Aeon continues to hold on.
Junk Sleep gets the important reset on the Shadow Surge and just flies through. Bamboo tries to buy time using the stopwatch, but still falls in the end. And yes, topside may be rough for the side of Tenebrous Esports. Glizzy trying to hold his own, but bot side where it matters. 4v4, 4 for nothing, and the Dragon going over to Tenebrous Esports. Glizzy's doing his job of just annoying Zax and keeping him from joining the fight.
TE Aeon all of a sudden going to jump out to about a 3,000 gold lead versus TD Syndicate off of a single play. Unfortunately, TD Syndicate was just not able to manage their numbers in that very awkward choke point in the tri-bush, right? Some of them were on the far side of the wall. Helium Bamboo went too far forward to try to defend Lemon Sap, and from there, they were just obliterated by Junk Sleep. They used their R way too early, not understanding that Junk Sleep just able to bypass the whole pushback off of their Shadow Surge ultimate, and because that is the case,
Lizzie's about to have some company.
Yeah, I've stopped casting.
Don't flash, buddy. Don't flash.
Oh yeah, it's really just don't flash at this point, guys. Okay, he didn't flash. Good job.
Good job, buddy.
Ugh. I do feel bad. I feel bad for Glizzy Gobbler. You know, like, coach, whoever the coach for TE Aeon is, please don't let them see this VOD, because I don't want to, like, break their self-esteem that hard, but this has just been a rough series for them.
It's been a rough series, but Zax, in all honesty, is one of the best IBS top laners here in the league. He won it last year, and he came back. Oh, the shield saved!
No!
Lemon Sap thought he had the...
Oh,
Oh,
they
he gets the
still
burn.
get it.
Never mind. He got the burn.
Down, I guess.
He got the burn.
I guess
Okay.
Lemon Sap took us for a loop there, right? He's actually the one like, no, I knew that they were going to die, guys. These casters
He was going for the
suck.
fadeaway.
Cool guys don't look at explosions, nor do they look at big shutdowns onto Junk Sleep, who honestly I thought was going to be able to put up a little bit more of a fight, given the fact they just had a huge amount of gold flown over to them by TD Syndicate griefing that last engage. But who's to say,
Zax
right?
is getting collapsed on here.
All right, I mean, Zax will also be pulled back by the face breaker here, and a lot of follow-up means that the Ornn, who just headbutts the R the wrong direction again, will be taken down in an instant. Glizzy Gobbler getting that one, as I guess TE Aeon felt bad because they're just going to give Rennick over. The Flag and Drag gets them out for the time being, but the teleport in from Lemon Sap means that TD Syndicate may be posturing to fight in their own jungle.
Yeah, Lemon Sap really strong now, picks up the Ryalize, so if anybody's ever caught in that demonic ascension, he's going to just absolutely shred them and keep them there, making sure he's going to be permanently.
All right, Glizzy Gobbler, the last one to leave the jungle, and therefore maybe the first one to die. They shield up, but the Kane ult is on top of them. They are actually executed by Vampiric Narwhal off the back end of that play, and the 4 other members of TE Aeon just have to file out of the jungle. But here comes Ornn. No Call of the Force got available, but still on a successful Flinky Splinky in, trying to get the knockup against Rennick, who manages to just barely pull themselves out with the Extendo Spear. But priority back over to Blue Squad after a disastrous fight around that last dragon. They're closing up that gold gap quite nicely, Bickle.
They really are. 2 dragons up right now for the side of... Hold on, mid here. Bye,
Okay,
Karma.
I mean, Karma Legend's the one that's going to die. Man.
Are we sure
Thresh...
this was the same person playing Thresh last game?
Yeah, I was going to say, banning Thresh really doing a number on Aeon support here. Like...
Yeah, Super Square, you almost gave me a heart attack in draft when I thought you weren't going to ban it.
Fair. Yeah, get in the comments. Y'all baited me. You still are baiting us by the fact that you put Zax Gaming onto an Ornn top, but we won't talk about that.
And right now, it looks like next Dragon's being set up for in a minute. Both teams really focusing on this mid prio. And Mythics have come in across the board for a lot of people. Of course, some opting for a non-mythic start. We have the Bork for Glizzy Gobbler. We have Narwhal going for the Manamune, and now has the Eclipse as well.
All right, well, Zax Gaming has been paying so many visits to this topside tier 1 from TE Aeon, and it's
still standing.
Yeah, it's still just standing there. Excellent craftsmanship, apparently. Ornn very much struggling to try to take this one down. Glizzy Gobbler just going to grab this wave rather than trying to interfere with their back.
Rinda looking to catch Karma here, though.
Yet again, Flash is available for the Seraphine, and we also have Jigbean there to help save this champion from being taken out a second time in a few moments. So they'll stay alive. They'll have their tools up for this dragon, and I think that's where we're going to expect a big fight.
Yeah, my eyes here are on Lemon Sap. 4-1-1, 2 items completed. Has that Ryalize alongside the ultimate. Rinda looking to catch Rennick, though. Well, look, topside. Glizzy is just split pushing while Zax is here.
Big call here by the set. I think that TD Syndicate may be committing a little bit too deep here. So if Aeon can hold these guys, stop the back, this is at least an inhib going down for TD
Nobody's
Syndicate.
leaving yet, and he's already gotten the tier 2.
And big encore coming out. Lemon Sap not going to be pulled
Lemon's
towards
going
the
in.
Scarabino Red Squad side, but while this is still a fight, the TD Syndicate is nicely splitting and might be able to pick up some kills, and you gotta watch out for that set. They're gonna flank all the way to the end of the game. Junk Sleep pulled back alongside Jigbean. That gives a beautiful triple kill over to the Suede. Rennick, the last one left alive, but they really gotta answer the set, man. They're gonna take that inhib. They're gonna make this play surprisingly even for Aeon, even as they are wiped near the dragon.
3 for 2. He interrupts some more. Only
Okay,
Lemon
no, he's gonna
Sap's
get
there.
Brenda.
Red's going for it. Might get a
He walked
kill.
back. Oh my god. I mean, like, this is now.
He's TPing to the
turbo
flag.
value
They're
for
gonna get
Aeon.
Dragon.
We're gonna get Dragon, yeah.
Glizzy Gobbler with the side laning menace.
I know.
Picks
What
up
a
tier
macro
2,
call.
picks up tier 3, picks up the inhibitor. And yes, his team loses 3, but they pick up 3 and the dragon.
I mean, impressive showing for sure. Syndicate no longer have that inhibitor topside. They're going to be slightly more pushed in a crucial lane that they need to have shoved if they want to look for the Baron Nashor. And this is a pretty substantial gold lead now over to Aeon, who moved to Soul Point.
Really are in a nice position now, but you have to look over at Lemon Sap. 7-1-1, now has the Leandri's Lament thanks to Zax Gaming's Ornn item upgrades finally coming in. We also have the Unspoken Parasite upgrading Jack shows. 3 more to go. Really, the scaling for TD Syndicate is still coming in hard. But this side lane will now be a long pressure, but Rennick just blows up Helium.
Bamboo had the Monsoon available as well, didn't pop it, and therefore will die for their conservatism. We'll have to see what Aeon can do with this advantage. Looks like for the time being, they're just going to continue to shove out the mid lane rather than immediately rushing something like the Baron, which, honestly, given that this is IBS, is probably the best choice. I think that this is kind of a league where you need to be absolutely certain that there's no way for that fight to be turned.
They want to be certain, make sure things are going their way. We see Glizzy Gobbler looking for a potential flank here, but
yeah,
has drawn the attention of everyone.
Planted to their death. I mean, they're gonna grief their flash as well. That's just the easiest pick of all time for Syndicate. They were
Narwhal
given a free kill, and now with the Chains of Corruption landing, make that one too. And
doesn't matter how many wards you have set up around Baron if you don't have people there.
Oh my gosh. He went from like one of the most big brain plays we've seen in a while around that top side, really dragging out TDS's resources and making it so Aeon got to Soul Point, and then immediately 2 people are now dead, and this is a chance for TDS to actually try to push towards Baron.
Yeah, looks like they're going to decide to start it up, maybe waiting on this Rift Scuttler to time out to limit the vision, but that's a catch again onto Junk Sleep.
Junk Sleep does have a lot of damage available, able to kind of dissuade the initial engage from Lemon Sap and Zax Gaming, but now Karma Legend tried to push around the far side to help the Vex, and that means that they're going to be taking
bot
solo.
side, they're supers on the Nexus Towers.
Yeah, they're going to have to have Lemon Sap back to clear that out, but Zax Gaming is on the chase down. They have 4 levels on Karma Legend and a flash available to just bellows breath this champion to death. And I do think that now with Rennick so far forward, this is going to be an eventual Baron call for TDS. Glizzy Gobbler's back up. They will not be here in time to stop the take of the Jarvan, though. And with a crucial smite now gone, a smite that has confirmed so many steals for Aeon, I do believe TDS will start this one up.
Yet, Tenebrous Esports was just trying to buy time while these supers did work topside, but unfortunately get caught in the end, and that means that the side of TD Syndicate is going to get a very nice Baron. Looks like kind of uncontested. Jigbean!
Oh man, what are they doing? They're just kind of chaining through these choke points, and unfortunately, Bickle, that means that they're just bleeding kill after kill over to TD Syndicate, who are sitting back and fattening up like ducks for foie gras. That was a terrible analogy. My apologies to everybody. Oh god.
Yeah, so it looks like this Baron goes over uncontested. Dragon up in 1:30. Karma Legend just trying to interrupt some backs. Not going to get anything though.
Oh boy, we got Syzygy purchased for Varus. That's probably my least favorite upgraded Ornn item name, but who's to say?
God, Syzygy is such a name.
It is such a name, yeah.
But right now, Dragon is the focus for both teams as they are getting set up. TD Syndicate trying to use this Baron a little bit to get some pushing lanes. Make sure that top lane does not become that issue that it was earlier. that when this dragon fight is happening, they don't have to respond. And it looks like Glizzy Gobbler, permanently focusing in being the sideline threat, has gone for the hull breaker.
I'm not a big fan of that, especially because I think that they probably need to group for these future fights to try to.
Oh, that's a catch.
Dragon Soul, and I mean the fact that they're not here means that this pick onto Jigbean is all that much more easy. And also, you know, as we have been talking about Karma Legend being kind of kneecapped in terms of their power budget by going for the Seraphine instead of having that Thresh from game number 2, Jigbean also is looking far less comfortable on the Misfortune than they were on the Varus in game number 2 as well, as Rennick is also getting run down. We'll be able to hide under that tier 1 tower, but this is pretty much going to be a free dragon for TDS.
Yeah, this is a completely uncontested dragon. Feels like Tenebrous Esports is just going to be looking to do something elsewhere, trying to draw pressure across the map. But Lemon Sap's too smart for that. He's not going to let the same trick work twice. He's already responding to Glizzy topside.
I just realized that Karma Legend is on Electrocute Seraphine, but they're building Enchanter.
Yep.
Huh.
And they don't have the excuse of runes. Good try, Rennick. He tried to get it again. Not going to happen,
Yeah.
though. He does get a big charm.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice little charm, but
Junk
flying
Sleep
space
gets
with
out.
the Monsoon, and now Aeon once again just have to flash back to safety. Reddick on the far side of this one, just going to have to walk past that tier 2 tower and hopefully get to safety, but Verinda is on the chase. Janik trying to accelerate the Ornn to catch out that
Narwhal
bot side of
just
the map.
explodes.
Narwhal, though, way too far forward, and as you said, absolutely exploded there. In fact,
We're
the
on to
Jarvan gets
Verinda.
out, and now Jigbean is just going to open up on the team with their bullet time. Glizzy Gobbler top side of the map, going to get hooked up by Lemon Sap, but already a lot of big kills back over to Aeon, and this could be a dicey situation for TD Syndicate. As the waves are here for them to start pushing towards this base, we could see another inhibitor cracked.
Yeah, it feels like while TD Syndicate's doing really well in the individual team fights and getting picks, Tenebrous Esports is running the map a little bit, has good pushing lanes, good job at taking towers, and it's just too much for TD Syndicate to try and answer. And yes, they get the dragon, but they lose some kills and then lose even more map prio and towers.
And Aeon have set up with a ward topside of the map that Glizzy Gobbler can teleport to, so you really have to worry about a backdoor at this point. More inhibitors could go down in favor of Red Squad, and all of a sudden, TD Syndicate, even with their advantage, could be pushed far enough back that they are going to struggle to grab stuff like the drag is necessary to even up that score and actually contest for Soul.
That's going to be such a big fight in 3.5 minutes. Of course, Baron up in 2.5 as well. These inhibitors have respawned, which is a big thing for TD Syndicate. The super minion pressure is not there.
Oh my god, it's a 31-minute game yet again, and I feel like we're nowhere close to done with this one, Bickle, as both teams are at an even 51,000 gold. Bot side of the map, we see an attempted engage by Zax Gaming off the Call of the Forge God. Can't quite get the
Glizzy's
kill
just
or
looking to buy
follow-up,
top side.
Although, top
Has
side of the map,
two of
Glizzy
them.
Gobbler is pulling 2 people their way. Nice double face breaker. They're forcing the flash out of Vampiric Narwhal, but the set, I think, is riding a
he gets it!
showstopper back into their death. They get a fadeaway kill, but now TD Syndicate are able to repel the push bot while this is all happening in a 3v4.
Glizzy Gobbler picks up the 1v2 kill in the end. Yes, he dies, but he buys time for his team in a winning fight and gets a kill of his own. Blows double sums on Vampiric Narwhal as well.
Oh, man. This feels like a best of 5. I'm not gonna lie, Bickle. Is this what you gotta deal with every week?
I do this every week, buddy.
Holy cow. I think I needed to work on my endurance, and this is a good way of doing it, because at this point, my brain is cooked. I've seen so many absolutely unhinged plays that I would clip and put on my timeline to, like, point at and laugh in the future. But here, I feel bad doing that. It's like a charity case back and forth. Both of these teams just overextending. Like, take, for instance, that last fight. Vampiric Narwhal, they save themselves with their flash. They get out from under Glizzy Gobbler, but they turn right back around as a Varus, go back into melee range, get showstoppered, and they make that an even play. In fact, Aeon was slightly favored because it was a 2v1.
Yeah, and it goes their way in the end, and Narwhal's just caught again.
Wow, and the
He's
burst
pushed
damage.
up way too far on his own, and this Eclipse Jarvan just pops him.
That was like from basically full health. I mean, that was a 100-0 death combo there from Rennick. only had to burn their ultimate, and the Cataclysm is at the point where he could kind of throw that out basically every single play. Electrocute Jarvan as well, just by the way.
Yeah, and Jarvan's now pushing in topside, going to be looking to once again get the supers going. And he's saying, I just want this inhibitor. Because that super minion is going to be so important, especially around this dragon fight. But Zax is looking to go in.
Oh, the Forge God is activated.
Big knock-up.
The double knock-up encore already used, and the bullet time is canceled. Zax Gaming gets down on top of the misfortune. They're going to pick up another one off the back of Karma Legend, just being too far forward, and Junk Sleep will be melted down to scrap, as it will, in fact, be Lemon Sap getting one back their way. Now, bot side of the map, Glizzy Gobbler going for the split push, but there's no team to split against. They are just sandwiched and taken down, making that almost a full ace for TDS.
Zax doesn't care what he's playing. He's going to be finding a way to carry. Gets a huge knock-up off the Ornn ulti, Call of the Forge God, into the Searing Charge knock-up, and just sets his team up so nicely for these picks. And with the main threats gone, is able to respond to the side lane threats as well, which means this is just going to be a free dragon going over to the side of TD Syndicate. And once again, we're going to dragon number 7.
Absolutely exhausting set of games. Both of these teams doubtlessly feeling the burdens upon them in this best of 3 as we're going deep down, 35 minutes in. Rennick trying to get away with their extendo spear, gets to the far side of the blast plant, will be able to throw themselves to safety, but they are so deep in enemy territory.
Gotta be an execute, right? He's just buying time. Yeah, he's catching the wave. Actually, his team's trying to come and save him.
I don't think this is the right call. I think that you just got to let the Jarvan die here, and they need to set up vision around
Actually,
Baron Nashor.
He just gets out.
Holy shit.
They stopped chasing him.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's certainly also something that can happen. I was not expecting that whatsoever, but this is actually a huge boon for TE Aeon, right? Because I think that with the Jarvan dead, TD Syndicate could have tried to rush Baron. Now that they're going to be able to heal back up and get back out onto the map, that's a little bit less viable for Blue Team.
And something to note, despite everything, TD Syndicate still has a nice gold lead. Look at how much standing gold they also have available as these picks come in.
You know,
there is so much standing gold for TD Syndicate. They've taken a 1 tower this entire game.
Yep.
And are still up 1.5k gold.
All right, we'll teleport into the base. It looks like Glizzy Gobbler is looking for the...
That's double TP. They're looking for it.
TP in. This is quite the play from TP.
Oh, there's a TP back to defend?
On red.
What is happening?
I have no freaking clue what's going on anymore. Bickle.
That was a mistake.
It's like they watched World's Finals. We're like, oh yeah, man, TP into the base. You know, Deft almost won that game. I'ma be Deft too. And then they just both die for it? Like, Aeon, what the fuck, man?
Lemon Sap quietly is just having a great game. 11-1-6 on this Swain.
And here's the thing, right? As much as Glizzy Gobbler has been impacting the map more, he's been quietly having another terrible game. He's 2-10-3. That was probably one of the worst macro calls I've seen in months, by the way, just trying to TP into the base. The fact that they baited Junk Sleep alongside them means that TD Syndicate now could pretty easily look to control this Baron, perhaps even take it and end the game.
Yeah, this Baron's going to be the next big fight, it really feels like, as things are going to break open soon enough. 37 minutes in, 7 dragons, and 1 Baron. We're heading to Baron number 2. And somehow, this game is still going. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just my brain is trying to recalibrate a little bit, right? Like,
you're good, man. Don't even worry about it.
Like I peaked gold 2, and I don't really play the game much anymore. I mostly just cast it, right? But it's so interesting seeing the game zoomed out, watching like a full team of people who are frankly about at my elo playing like this, right? Because I never think about how unhinged most of the macro decisions from either team is in a game. But it's really just kind of eye-opening to see here as, you know, I know better than these guys, yet I sit on high in my ivory tower being like, holy crap, I would never play like this, when I definitionally must be playing like this. I
I'm
think
like,
it's
I'm like, oh my god, some of these decisions are terrible. When I know damn well I make some of the exact same calls and look terrible doing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's so strange, right? Well, we are going to be seeing what could be a okay. Jigbean's just gonna back here. Aeon, because of that reset from
Oh, the root
Misfortune,
catches.
just to back off from the Baron Nashor. Rennick almost caught out there by the claw from Lemon Sap, able to just flag and drag away. Glizzy Gobbler trying to find an angle. Don't get baited into just ult exacts gaming.
Dorinda's
Hit
there.
someone Squishy, please. Here
No,
comes Call of the
watch
Force.
out.
Got down the
Encore.
choke point. The big encore
Bullet
hits
time.
free, and Misfortune on the backline opens up with the bullet time. They're gonna get one, but then eventually they're taken down by Vampiric Narwhal. And
Lemon
once
Sap
more,
is
TD
huge.
Syndicate are just going to slice through TE Aeon. There's the ace. There's Baron.
Absolutely insane all around. Looked like Zax had a great engage into a counter engage from Karma Legend with the bullet time over the top of Vampiric Narwhal flashing in to get the kill onto Misfortune to stop the channel. And in the end, it's just TD Syndicate that clean up the fight and get themselves a Baron. And you have to think, now they're going to open up the map. They're heading down to get themselves Soul. How much standing gold is there?
Way
Because
too
they're
much.
about to inflate this gold lead to massive numbers. I have to feel for Rennick. 7-2-7 has actually been having a really solid game, just not having the support of his teammates around him.
I mean, that was pretty much a dream engage from Aeon, right? They got Karma Legend to throw out a massive encore into a choke point. Jigbean opens up, but unfortunately, with the slight scattering that was there, the fact that the fight allowed for Vampiric Narwhal to hide behind a wall, it meant that almost immediately Jigbean was just blown up by this massively scaled Varus. And I mean, Bickle, what scares me is that we're 40 minutes in, and I don't think this game is even close to done, right? Because
It's gotta be, right?
no, but like
It has
they
to
have
be.
2 towers. They have 2 towers right now, man.
They have to, like, break open so much with this Baron. They just got Baron and Infernal Soul.
All right, well, I think that we have a 50-minute banger on our hands, personally. I don't think
No
this
way.
game. You
Not
say
a-
no way.
I think this ends.
What the? Okay.
Rennick?
Rennick has just decided, okay, yeah, I want
Wait,
Bickle to be right.
that
This game is
worked?
about over. I mean, a lot of damage on the backline as Jigbean is going to take down Narwhal and Helium Bamboo. But I mean, TD Syndicate now have more space to play with, as that's a huge source of damage removed from the pool. Aeon are just going to have to sit here and watch their towers fall.
That looked so troll, but somehow Rennick lived long enough to get the Jigbean bullet time over the top to do extra damage and pick off 2 members. But then Lemon Sap came in and just cleaned up this fight.
Yeah.
Lemon
I think the
Sap
problem is this is still
absolutely massive.
Yeah, I think the problem is this is still very unfavorable for Aeon, right? Because this makes the siege a little bit easier for Syndicate. Zax Gaming is going
Zax
low,
chunked.
but will be able to survive and look for the reset here. And so that's a pretty successful push down mid. 2 towers taken, make that 3 now with the empowered minions. And while Inhibitor will, okay, maybe they will in fact try to push towards the
Oh, yeah,
Inhibitor.
they're looking to keep going. That's
All
a
right,
TP
yeah,
in from
Zax Gaming
Zax.
full health bar coming right
They want to
back
end
here.
this game. They don't
Oh.
want a 50-minute banger.
All right, well, there we go. Inhibitor being chunked at least a little bit. The 2 cannon minions still alive. Good little snipe down onto them from Junk Sleep, but eventually it will in fact be taken out. The thing is, can they push any deeper? Right at now, as it currently stands, I think that Aeon will be able to hold in their base. And, you know, 1 inhibitor does not spell the end of the game. That's the scary thing about this, Bickle.
Yeah.
We've seen TD Syndicate deal with 1 inhibitor down for the vast majority of this 3rd round.
This game is absolutely chaotic. Is it clean? Absolutely not. Is it entertaining? Absolutely.
All right. Well, Jigbean, unfortunately, did not have the CC necessary.
That
to make
Varus
an
arrow
efficacious
just need
bullet
half of
time,
Jigbean's health.
and Vampiric Narwhal is sniping people into oblivion.
Look at
the
how
double
much
stack of
damage
Junk
Narwhal
Sleep
is
and
putting
Karma
out here.
Legend. Holy shit, man. This Misfortune's time has passed, unfortunately. Their goose is cooked.
Oh, yeah. Narwhal is just pumping out these Varus arrows, full charge, half-healthing just about more than half of the team. But this
Glizzy,
looks like TD Syndicate is looking for it.
Blizzy. Oh,
Encore!
Blizzy.
No follow-up, Reddick!
I mean, Reddick's gonna go in. I think he's gonna pick up one, but that's about it. Nice little CC throwing back down onto them because of Zach
Oh,
standing.
there's
the double kill for
Lemon.
the Varus, and now this is going to be the end of the game.
The pull.
TD Syndicate are going to push into TE Aeon's base, and Aeon is just split, trying to find their way back towards the fountain, and Vampiric Narwhal gets back-to-back double kills. Ace coming through, and Blue Squad will end this series.
It is finally over. Off the back of Lemon Sap Swain, 16-1 and 13, 301 CS this game, 7 Dragons, and 2 Barons. That was a hell of a game.
Yeah, hell is the way I would describe that series. I think as a whole.
Welcome to IBS, my friend.
Holy mackerel. Yeah, congratulations to TD Syndicate. It was hard fought for sure. I don't know if I ever want to experience something like that ever again.
That was a crazy back and forth series. Was it clean? No. Was it fun? Yes. Am I looking forward to seeing what both of these teams do? Absolutely. And really, Lemon Sap and Narwhal pumped out so much damage. Lemon had the noticeable damage because on the Swain, he was always frontlining and just pumping out damage with the Demonic Ascension. But Narwhal was just throwing out these piercing arrows, and with this lethality build, quietly did the most damage in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it started quiet, but it turned into a deafening roar near the end. Very impressive showing there. And I am kind of happy that TD Syndicate, at the end of all that, kind of threw around carry potential between all their members. It shows that they are the complete package, a very competitive composition moving on into BOL. And while TE Aeon had their shining spots, there's definitely things for them to work on. And I do believe that they can be a top competitor. It's just going to take a little bit of work to get there.
Yet Piltover is a really crazy division, a lot still going on, a lot up for grabs, but the one thing we can say, TD Syndicate establishing their names at the top of it, saying they want to be a team that's looking to repeat. That moves them to 2-0, the only 2-0 squad in Piltover, as we have TD Syndicate at the top at 2-0, and Renegades at the bottom at 0-2. Everybody else is 1-1.
Yeah, and I mean, this wasn't an uncontested series either, right? Aeon got one of the games off of Syndicate. Frankly, could have gotten a lot more with just a few subtle changes here or there. And that means that we got a very, very competitive division ahead of us, Bickle. So
we really do. And for everybody wondering, for everybody wondering, that was the final game of the night coming to an end. So we do have a standings update. In Piltover, as we mentioned, TD Syndicate takes the top at 2-0 after their win against Tenebrous Esports Aeon. We have a 6-way tie at 1-1 between CB Forsaken, TE Aeon, SG Neutron, Tectonic, SG Tau, and CB Syndicate, with ATS Renegades bringing up the rear at 0-2. Over in Zaun, we have 2 teams undefeated with SNC Sunset Ravens and Event Horizon Kaizen, but we had a massive upset tonight. Glacial Omen takes down the CB Clowns, who are looking like an early favorite in that division in a big upset. We have a 4-way tie at 1-1 between the Clowns, TD Dusk, Rev Per Minute, and Glacial Omen, with Mystic Cats Red and AH Danger Bunnies at 0-2. So we have some crazy games still to come and very exciting matchups to watch.
All right, well, there you have it, guys. We have another division of the BOL shaping up to be a real banger, which I think is just the case across the board. We have stuff going on every single day of the week, basically, and it's all entertaining, you know. I was freaking out this time around. I may have overstated, though, the extent to which this is any more crazy than the other stuff that the BOL has to offer. It's every day's a banger in the BOL, right? The Plat League has similarly absolutely unhinged plays around neutral objectives. Big steals coming through, explosive stuff happening. So catch me over there. Typically, I think Gopherino and you, Bickle, here at the IBS station. But honestly, it's been a blast to be a guest on for tonight to cover and in play-by-play casts some absolutely wild events. Shout out to Pop Tart once again on production and on their wonderful chat interaction and moderation. We could not do this without them. And shout out to the BOL as a whole. Make sure to drop a follow, catch everything else that we have going on. But this is going to be it from us tonight. Got anything in closing to say, Bickle?
Nah, just thanks everybody for being here. Thank you for joining me. It was an absolute pleasure having you, man. Big thanks for filling in when we needed you. Again, shout outs to Pop Tart. This stream wouldn't happen without you. And yeah, I will be here again next Thursday. We got streams coming in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even Monday. So many games coming on. We love having you guys here. We hope you continue to watch here at BOL. And we look forward to seeing you again next time, man.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.